ghost hunting YouTube channel in Russia called Dark Ghost Paranormal says they've caught real video evidence of poltergeist activity on camera while exploring an abandoned house that's haunted. After leaving cameras upstairs to record video evidence, Dark Ghost Paranormal goes exploring in the basement to investigate for any poltergeist activity. The entrance to the basement has been boarded up like somebody really didn't want anyone to get in, or maybe they were trying to prevent something from getting out, something paranormal. He gets a creepy feeling down here. The basement looks completely demolished, stuff thrown everywhere, and so he goes back upstairs. Exploring the haunted basement must have set something free, because it isn't long before the poltergeist is coming to investigate these ghost hunters. Something scary happens behind him. The voice of a little ghost girl comes from a dresser, one that just so happens to be a child's height and is no doubt possessed by the ghost of one. The ghost hunter examines the area for a little bit, and just when he's about to wrap up the paranormal investigation, the scary poltergeist activity picks up again. This angle gives us a better look at how close the dresser is to the wall, way too close for someone to have been hiding behind it. The heavy object is moving by itself, or from a ghost to be more precise, and so he leaves the abandoned house to further rot. Exploration Unknown is an adventurous channel based out of Knoxville, Tennessee. The host, John, has been checking out hundreds of weird places around the South for over 3 years now. Usually all he finds is historic architecture, but he's also stumbled into his share of paranormal places, dozens of them. In 2018, he and his friend Tim traveled to the Nemo train tunnel, 6 miles south of Wartburg, Tennessee. Their plan is to walk straight through to the other side. The outside is slowly collapsing and gives off an eerie vibe that they cannot deny. They get their first sign to stay away at 4 minutes and 45 seconds as they stare down the waterlogged entrance.
I don't either. There's a lot of sediment built up in here for sure. Did you hear that howl? Something went, howl.
The same noise is heard again at 11 minutes and 9 seconds.
I keep hearing something. Keep going. Shh.
The air grows thick as John and Tim continue to march down the straight path, alternating between wet and dry patches. 2 minutes later, they reach the part of the tunnel where they originally heard the noise, and there they experience one of the weirdest encounters on his whole channel. A shadow passes and something touches John's arm.
Literally just touched my arm.
It's coming around the corner, whatever that thing is. I can still see it. It's come around the corner.
Then when it walks in between them both, it causes their camera to go out of focus.
Something touched my arm, like grazed it.
Dude, as I come around that bend, you can still see it poking its head around the phones. What are you? Hello?
And when they ask if they want to communicate,
Are you trying to communicate with us?
the camera goes back into focus as if it simply walks away, but in its place is a lingering dread that makes them feel unsafe, a slight hum as if the air is electrified.
Sounds like a train coming.
Dude, that sounds like it's coming right at us.
A train horn comes from behind even though the tracks have been ripped up long ago. It's either edited or a ghost train. Not much else happens until they finally see light from the other side of the tunnel. They felt watched this entire time, and John decides to try and convince the spirit to reveal itself on camera once and for all.
Is there anything you'd like to say before we leave?
Believe it or not, that's not even their creepiest ghost train encounter. A year prior, John, Tim, and their friend James all found an abandoned train in the middle of the woods in 2017, probably not too far from the Nemo Tunnel. A broken window in the first car suggests that something could have struck the conductor and stopped the train, where it has remained ever since. In the kitchen, John captures a strange white anomaly head past them, and then the camera mysteriously blurs when they open the door. Now they are in the first passenger car and conclude that something is with them.
Smash that like button for me. What was that?
It's probably just like the tree.
My camera's blurring up real bad.
Oh, don't tell me that, bro.
Yeah, it's blurring up real bad. Okay, there we go.
My camera gets blurry some.
Something is getting mad that they won't leave. They're seeing things at the same time. A shadow that I don't see, but maybe you can.
I hear somebody moving still. Oh, I just saw a shadow again. Hello?
Dude, what the hell was that?
An orb appears at the exact same moment something falls behind them. Tim goes to investigate, and this is when it all goes wrong.
What was that?
Dude, what the? Dude, did you hear that?
Yes.
Dude, what was that? Dude, what was that?
I don't know. Somebody said something.
A noise behind Tim and another in front of John sends them running away. As they squint into the darkness, John thinks he sees something his camera can't detect.
Dude, how do we get into these situations? Seriously.
I know. Dude, I think somebody just peeked out down there.
But as the invisible presence draws closer, they do manage to detect something.
We might want to get out of here, guys. Just in case.
It's the type of slight picture distortion that allegedly happens when a ghost steps near. So light anomalies and picture distortions are all well and good, but I bet a full-sized apparition is what you really came here for. Well, Exploration Unknown has got you covered. In February of 2018, John and Tim explore an abandoned factory that was shut down after mysterious accidents led to speculation that it could be cursed. It isn't long before they quickly agree.
What is it?
Dude, that something's coming against that wall.
Dude. What is that banging?
What is that scream?
I just saw a light, dude. Hold still.
And when walking deeper, the noises grow heavier, more angry.
Sounds like it's about that time. He's going backwards now.
It waits until they reach the far wall and are cornered before revealing itself to their horrified eyes.
Out what that thing. Dude, that come from over here. Dude, get out of here! Go, my dude!
John and Tim want to believe that this was just a person fooling with them, but I think we all know the answer. Nobody would be living out here, and I think that's the key word, living. What they saw was not anything close to alive. Published to YouTube by In Jamaica in August of 2017, this big almost catch occurred at the Hellshire Bridge. The camera approaches a large gathering of onlookers surrounding the bridge in question, where cars have pulled to the side of the road to watch the big event. Two young men have managed to nab the croc by the snout using a length of rope. The crowd cheers as the crocodile thrashes about and soon escapes his captors. They try again, throwing the rope into the murky water. After a few failed attempts to recapture it, they give up and the crowd disperses. Many in the comments below blame the lack of catch on the crowd, saying they're making too much noise and scaring the croc away. Perhaps they're right, but if you knew this monster was lurking below, could you suppress your fear? A YouTuber named Lanzo has a haunted ranch that he is afraid to visit. He knows at least one of the buildings is haunted because his uncle told him about a full conversation that he had with a strange man who said that he was a demon, and then promptly and mysteriously disappeared right in front of him on the spot. Ever since then, the 1-acre property has been overrun with paranormal activity.
Just from that day and now on, it's always been like creepy for me and my cousins to come here at night. That I heard something that was scared.
Do you guys hear that? Do you guys hear that?
He hears scary whispering voices haunting the woods nearby and quickly shakes the thought away. But I think I might have heard the whispering voices too, followed by other scary noises that may or may not have been the wind. It's 3 a.m. and as they approach, they can feel the paranormal energy feeding off of their fear. Their equipment refuses to focus on one paranormal hotspot, and they know it's because a ghost is haunting them.
Right there.
What the f***, you guys?
And I'm gonna impact.
Their night vision and motion tracking paranormal equipment detect a super tall figure standing in the same place they felt was haunted, and it's making the dogs bark like crazy too. The animals are familiar with Lanzo, so I think these pets are having a ghost sighting of their own.
There's literally a figure right there.
The dogs aren't even facing them, further evidence that something paranormal has their interest.
Something's clearly back there.
And even the horse seems to freak out as well. I feel sorry for all of the terrifying encounters that these poor animals probably have on a regular basis living on this haunted ranch. The horse begins moving frantically at 6 minutes and 58 seconds, and then they detect a ghost trying to climb some firewood to hitch a ride. The panicking animal sways back and forth to get away from the apparition, but to no avail. I don't know if this horse is freaking out over a ghost sighting, or if it's just asking them for some food. This is a 3 a.m. video though, so I don't think the horse should be hungry.
We noticed that there was a figure that was dancing with the horse like next to it. Like literally right there, you guys. Like I'm getting the chills. I'm terrified right now.
Behind this gate is where the dogs were barking at something, and that's when they get really scared because their paranormal equipment goes off again.
I literally can't feel my feet, like.
It's starting to detect something.
Dude.
They need to go around the building to see what's on the other side of the gate, but they hardly get a few steps before their camera goes out of focus.
Over here.
And in the woods, they hear a really weird voice, like laughter. When they consult their paranormal equipment for a translation, it interprets only one word.
If there's anyone here with us, give us a sign.
Goodbye.
Oh my God, no.
And it utters this phrase. A single ghost orb flies into them. I wouldn't be surprised if this ranch was haunted by skinwalkers after all. Skinwalkers are paranormal tricksters who will often haunt ranches built on ancient prairie lands. So with this in mind, a ghost sighting on this ranch would make sense. What would you do if someone was stalking you? That's a decision YouTuber Near Shadows had to make while on the scariest randonautica of their lives. At this site, they come across a golden box amongst some trees and brush.
What is that?
No way.
It's too cold for all this.
Come grab this.
I got gloves.
What is this?
When they lift it, they see it's bound with tape and fishing line.
Babe, it's like a weird box that's binded up.
I kind of see.
It has fishing line on it.
It has fishing line.
Look at.
I don't want to. Oh.
Look at this.
Oh my God.
You guys see that?
They examine it and discover something shocking.
Whoa.
What?
This says 50th anniversary on it.
50th anniversary?
Look, 50th anniversary. Not kidding.
Oh, wow. What does that mean?
Not kidding. The art.
When they open it up, this is what they find.
We're gonna get into this. What the heck? It's a balloon. It's a balloon. It's a balloon that has like 61? 16.
Balloons.
It sounds like there's rocks or something.
Like there's rocks or pebbles in there, yo.
What the heck?
With something inside them.
Do you feel anything in that one?
Yeah.
That one doesn't sound. That one sounds empty.
There's little pieces of something in it.
Let me see.
Like, it almost sounds like, it almost feels like bullets or something. It's kind of weird.
And this clue?
It's a piece of paper. 6th Street.
6th Street.
It's like a ripped up portion of a map. And it says 6th Street. Babe, we're on 6th Street.
When they open the balloon, they uncover a mystery.
What is that? It's a little bead, and it has the number 2 on it.
What do these numbers mean?
Good close-up. Pause this and...
They then notice some people watching them.
Who's this person walking over
God,
here?
are they coming over here? Careful.
Come on, guys. Some freaking...
Please don't come over here.
Oh.
Please.
But they realize they're probably not here for them.
What was that?
I'm not touching it. Could be drugs in this neighborhood.
They open up the second balloon.
Oh,
Sure they're beads.
these are big beads.
That's what she said.
Would you? Oh no! Dropped the bead.
The letters must mean something too, but what?
A-Z-S.
Near Shadows continues to follow this mystery of a missing persons case in their next video. I'm curious as to what these clues mean. I assume the girl who went missing was 16, judging by the balloon, and this is the 50th anniversary since she went missing. But as to the numbers and letters, I guess we'll have to wait for the series' next installment. Point Lookout State Park in Maryland has everything from haunted prisons to large cemeteries. All historically preserved but otherwise seldomly visited and practically abandoned. This is one of the most haunted places in the world if you ask a YouTuber named Fixed Image, a man who comes here to try and communicate with spirits quite often. This place has always given him a paranormal feeling that he has trouble putting into words. Usually he does little more than scare himself in the woods, but July 31st of 2018 is the day he makes clear and deliberate contact with the other side. He faces the Cheapskate Bay on a cloudy day and tries to force a ghost sighting on camera like always.
I'm alive. I'm a human. Speak now into this device when I'm silent, if you haven't already said anything. So I know you're here. So when I come back here next time, I can help you.
5 minutes and 11 seconds is when he notices something strange and unusual behind him. He knows this area quite well by now and knows that cabins are not open to the public and should be latched shut.
It's a little creepy, to be honest.
Today, one of the doors is open, possibly because of what he said. He wants to investigate further, but a sense of paranoia grows with each step. He felt watched from this cabin last time he explored here. With the door now open, the terror he feels is twice as great.
I just feel isolated, like anything that's in this area is right here watching me. Yeah, I'm not going in any of these places. I can't right now.
He has an internal struggle with himself for 2 full minutes, trying to find the courage needed to go to the cabin and take a look inside. He has conducted so many paranormal investigations here before, and now that something has finally happened, he He finds himself too scared to get the paranormal evidence he needs to be taken seriously as a ghost hunter. But that's not how he wants to end this video. He knows he can't go out like that, so he takes a deep breath and marches back to a place that frightened him so badly before. This time the paranoia returns twice as strong and he is struck by a heaviness in the limbs, as if the very presence of something dreadful is weighing him down.
That's when I feel so heavy. And I feel like I have to look all around me every second. I feel like there's something behind me, and then when I look behind, there's something in front of me.
The closer he gets to the building with the open door, the heavier his limbs feel. He is so off balance by the time he gets there that he worries he will not be able to run away. He is too afraid to even look in the direction of the cabin, but soon he is forced to.
The doors are shut. The doors are shut. The doors are shut. I'm not even kidding.
He puts a sound effect over the video, but you can still hear the door close by itself if you listen at 18 minutes and 53 seconds.
Oh!
Anyway, he feels normal again as soon as the door shuts and is able to sprint away. There's nobody in the parking lot and no sounds or signs of a cleaning crew inside, so I agree that a ghost could have slammed that door shut. Uncharted Travel is the name of a ghost hunting YouTube channel who goes exploring an abandoned children's mental asylum at 3 a.m. with over 100 years of terrifying history involving cases of neglect and mistreatment. This derelict mental asylum is supposed to be one of the scariest and most haunted places in Baltimore. Almost immediately, the ghost hunters think they hear movement coming from upstairs, weird noises that I can just barely hear, kind of like children's footsteps.
They're upstairs. There's somebody walking upstairs.
The creepy sounds are followed by much scarier noises. They go exploring the second floor of the not-so-abandoned but almost certainly haunted children's mental asylum in search of the scary noises, and that's when their paranormal investigation uncovers a mysterious brick wall sectioning off a part of the asylum with a child-sized hole in it. It's a creepy moment for sure, and not exactly something you would expect to find at 3 a.m. And maybe it's just me, but this looks like it might be a hidden room with bars behind the brick wall. Across from a children's playroom with two creepy dolls is a holding room with weird drawings on the wall, and much higher up, two round holes, perhaps marking where a caretaker lost their temper. They go exploring the rest of the rooms and start to retrace their steps to see if they missed anything. And that's when one of the ghost hunters has a scary moment and comes running back to the group.
No. The door just opened by itself. No.
Which one?
That door just opened by itself.
I do believe this part, and I'll tell you why. It's because there's an apparition behind them that I bet you didn't even see. As he runs downstairs screaming about a ghost opening the door, a scary ghost faces in the window, eyes and all. It appears again at 28 minutes and 26 seconds, a stretched out ghost face in the window, or perhaps it's their flashlight shining into the dirty glass. I'm not sure which. All I know is a half a minute later, all remnants of this bizarre ghost face in the window are completely gone. So I think it could have been a paranormal ghost sighting after all. Also, when they go upstairs to test the door that the ghost allegedly opens, they get more paranormal evidence on their equipment.
Yeah, you're getting big readings over here, Dan. I wonder why.
The beeping of their equipment turns into a solid note when they get within close proximity to the door. Notice how this solid note of paranormal evidence happens again when he actually opens the door.
Dan, those dolls are in a completely different place from when we last saw them.
Coincidentally, this is the same door leading into the children's playroom, and unless the ghost hunters repositioned them, at least one of the 2 creepy dolls moved by itself since the last time they were in here. So yeah, don't go exploring this abandoned mental asylum at 3 a.m. because apparently you'll see some truly weird things. Humans are not the only ones spying ghosts in our midst. Animals are well known to be sensitive to various stimuli, often accurately predicting earthquakes before they happen and acting extremely anxious and skittish beforehand. These sensitivities also appear to include sensing paranormal entities. There are countless stories out there of pet owners describing their pets reacting towards unseen figures or becoming distressed prior to a paranormal event occurring. Happy Fox Productions is a channel making short films from comedy to action to drama. Things took a different turn on September 1st, 2020 when the channel uploaded a more meta video. Founder Justin Melson explains he was on vacation with his mother in December of 2019 when his home security picked up something strange. When he got home, he and his mom noticed the cats were acting different. Concerned, they checked the footage from the cameras and found something that shocked and puzzled them. As the video starts, one of the cats is visible on the bed, standing upright and looking around. She then reacts to something near the exit of the room, and right then an unexplained shadow is cast against the door. The shadow has physical features resembling a person, including arms and legs, and appears to be walking past the door and into the bedroom. As it fades from view, the second cat makes its appearance, seemingly following whatever was walking into the room. Both cats acting confused. As the second cat fully enters the room, a TV table in front of the camera rocks, as if something brushed past it. At the same moment, a dark mist briefly appears over the chair behind it before vanishing, and then the door starts closing on its own. The clip ends when the camera suddenly pans to the right, and Melson says it stayed there the remainder of their time away. In the video's description, he explains there wasn't anything out of place besides a few books knocked over, which could easily be dismissed as the cat's doing. But what doesn't make sense to him is he found clumps of cat hair around, a sign his cats were fighting. He found this odd as they had never fought before, and he has no explanation for why. From the sounds of his writing, it would appear he and his mom hadn't experienced anything out of the ordinary before, so why now? Well, people will certainly say this was simply a hoax as the owners have filmmaking experience. It doesn't explain the reaction of the cats. Herding cats means an impossible task for a reason, as cats can be difficult to train, despite being good pets. The confusion in the cat's expressions and their behavior after does sound some alarm bells. It is unknown if anything happened after, but we are hoping there will be a follow-up soon. A user named Josiah Worley has some of the best paranormal evidence on TikTok of a ghost haunting his room on the attic floor. He's recording his game table after a card leaped off the deck, and soon a cup is moving by itself. Or more accurately, a ghost is moving the cup if you ask Josiah. He handles the cup immediately after, and you can see there's no string. On another night, with one hand on the camera and the other hand on the mattress, Josiah watches an object move by itself.
Mom?
And later it crawls across the floor.
Bro. Are you good, bro? You good, bro? Do you see any strings? Did you guys see it move?
There are no editing cuts when he walks up to the medicine bottle. This object moved on its own. This happens night after night until finally he tries to communicate with the ghost. He makes the mistake of acting annoyed, which I think ramps things up considerably.
What's good? You're kind of making noises. You're kind of being really loud. It's really irritating. Okay.
In my opinion, the ghost wants nothing more than to be acknowledged, but Josiah wants nothing more than to be left alone. It's a conflict that's bound to create paranormal tension in the long run. The paranormal activity doesn't stop, and so he gets in the habit of recording his room all of the time.
It's almost sunrise.
almost sunrise. What was that? Where'd that go?
This ghost orb in particular curves around and appears in front of him when he wants to know what it is. The caption says maybe I should ignore it, but in my opinion that will only make things even more unpleasant for him in the long run. I think the ghost hates being ignored and is moving objects because it refuses to go unheard. I don't think it wants Josiah out of the apartment. When he says he's going to move out is when it becomes absolutely enraged.
I'm gonna end up leaving.
If anything, it wants him to keep it company forever. Josiah decides to use a ghost hunting TikTok filter called the reality ripple to finally catch a ghost sighting on his phone camera. It isn't long before objects are moving on their own again, and the colors on his screen change to indicate a ghost is near.
Do you guys hear that? No, that doesn't make sense. No, stop.
While looking at the still frame gaze into the paranormal energy, you can see a yellow phantom figure reaching out. I've circled its head with long hair and pointed at its arm to help you better see it. The figure seems to be grabbing at the area where the object fell over. All of this creeps Josiah out badly enough to ask the ghost, point blank, to do something specific if he's safe.
I got one question for you. Am I safe? If I am, then please knock over the cups. Oh, you saw that.
A cup does not move by itself, but the ghost does push a bag off the table. This is definitely a reply, and I guess it means that he's not safe because it moves a different object than the one he asked it to. Ever since then, things have quieted down, so maybe Josiah just needed to ask for permission to live here, or maybe this strange and cryptic poltergeist is biding its time, letting him lower his guard before moving on to the next phase of his horrible haunting. Have you ever played hide and seek with a ghost? Posted in April of 2020, this footage shows you can run but you can't hide. Entering a disused building at night, which appears to have been an office building of some kind, this brave soul navigates the deserted place, with rooms littered with debris and office chairs overturned in the hallway. The guy filming seems to sense the presence of something unseen. He addresses it, but nothing makes itself known. Looking up and down hallways and around corners, he decides to ascend the stairs. On the second level, an overhead fan is spinning. With no electricity on, this movement is incredibly eerie. He calls out again to whatever presence is in the haunted building, before tentatively walking up the rest of the stairs and turning the corner to another hallway. He exhales audibly in relief after finding the hallway empty. As he walks down the hall, with small scraps of paper scattered everywhere on the floor, he hears a sharp click. He kicks a door from one of the adjacent rooms open. Checking all corners of the room and behind the door, he finds no one and nothing in there. He runs to the opposite room, also kicking the door open and entering it to find it empty, apart from furniture. He returns to the hallway, looking back and forth several times before continuing down the hall. As he turns another corner, scanning the next hallway and its rooms, he screams as an office chair glides past behind him. When he turns to enter a room, he kicks the chair away from him, but moments later the chair moves again as he continues down the hallway. Now the noises really escalate. There are bangs and sounds coming from every direction. As he walks past a room, the door slams shut. He enters the room and a window slides open. More sounds bang all around, causing him to race out of there for his life.
Bismillah. Allahu Akbar.
As he arrives at the stairwell, a loud screeching is heard, like tables being moved around, only the screeching doesn't stop for a long time.
الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة.
After watching this footage, one thing's for sure, this haunted building is not for the faint of heart. A YouTube channel called Adventure with Hodge goes on an urban exploration of an abandoned factory, and it turns out to be one of the scariest places he has ever explored. Something feels wrong with the creepy location from the very start, and they begin to wonder if this place is really abandoned after all.
Eerie, not gonna lie.
The basement feels downright spooky with only one flashlight between them. The urban explorers are too scared to venture far, especially when they discover a creepy message spelling out their fate.
You're in his home. Wonderful.
I don't like that at all.
We just decided to go back in the basement. We just heard something.
That was loud.
On the basement floor is another haunting discovery in the form of an abandoned jacket. Why would someone leave their jacket down here? Hodge wonders. I personally couldn't help but notice it's kid-sized, and this is certainly no place for a child. Someone scary must have taken them to this horrible location. Someone twisted and deranged. The two friends are beyond creeped out, but at the same time curious enough to go exploring past the creepy warning on the wall. Bad decision.
It's time to go. Time to go.
Okay, we're gone. I'm sorry.
Somewhere in the darkness, a heavy object falls over, and the loud, scary noise they capture on tape makes them cry out in surprise and run away while apologizing. This part deserves a closer analysis because it's scary stuff indeed. They are exploring the middle of the basement, nothing within arm's reach, when an unseen object either crashes or is thrown to the ground. Hodge is holding the camera, and you can see his friend's elbow right before the scary noise is caught on video, so he's standing too close. Whatever caused this unexplained event can't be them. Plus, listen to how he later describes this creepy encounter caught on tape.
Majority of the video, we were exploring the basement of this abandoned factory. We kept hearing noises, felt like something was following us, and lo and behold, something followed us and we were chased out the basement.
I see no signs that he's lying, no deceit in his eyes, only enthusiasm at the thought of having a scary and maybe even paranormal encounter caught on tape, so I believe this creepy video is as real as he says. An abandoned school that served as a German headquarters a long time ago. A ghostly female apparition spotted in the window. This dilapidated site is ripe for exploration. Originally published by Dark Ghost Paranormal, this scary video follows Dennis as he takes on the challenge. Using a spirit box, Dennis tries to find out what is going on here. The spirit box immediately informs him that a spirit is here. She says that he doesn't know her. After asking if she burnt the place down, she answers in the affirmative.
Это ты сожгла это помещение?
Да.
She also says, they did it to me, they burned me.
Они это сделали со мной.
And Dennis is told they're in the basement, whoever they are. Dennis heads inside to have a look. After asking for a sign of the spirit's presence, he is given one.
Надо где-то еще искать.
Down in the basement, he finds something like a bunker. While speaking with the spirits, a box makes a noise in the corner. His lights go out, and he hears mysterious knocks in the room. He tries the door at the end of the room, but it seems shut tight. When he asks the spirits through the spirit box what they want from him, they have a simple answer.
Что тебе нужно от меня? Скажи, что тебе нужно от меня?
After the spirits warn him to leave, and the lights go out again. Suddenly, he looks up to find the door open. He gathers his stuff and gets out of there in the nick of time. Another camera on the outside of the room captures the door opening on its own. Is this the spirit of whoever set fire to the lady in the window? Or is it the lady herself? Steve and Jake are wandering around the woods one summer night with a single goal in mind. They want to explore an abandoned local chapel that's rumored to be haunted. As they approach, they see that someone has written prayers and warnings all over the outside wall. The two friends instantly get a bad feeling about this adventure, but they swallow their fear and decide to press on. The rickety main door is locked, so they sneak around back. Already, they don't want to be here much longer. They had explored an old clock tower earlier in the day and were greatly disappointed by a lack of paranormal activity. But they could tell this church is way different. The place looked and felt quite haunted. They go up some wooden steps and enter through the back door. They shine their flashlights deep into the church's main assembly. There's rows and rows of wooden pews ahead of them. They pass by a podium and notice a piano. Then they head deeper inside. Now they find themselves inside of a small maintenance closet. They close the door behind them because they don't want anyone sneaking up on them. It feels like anyone could be watching them right now. They see a ladder to the left. Steve is about to climb it until Jake jokes that a body is going to fall down on him if he does, so he decides not to. That's when the piano starts to play from outside.
Oh no. Oh my god, turn off the light. Listen, listen. Shit, this fucking piano. Is that piano? Come on. Should we go out there? Is that door open? Is that door open?
It's a soft and haunting piano melody that fills the church. Steve and Jake shut off their flashlights and keep recording. They debate whether or not they should go outside or stay here, where it's semi-safe. They realize that they can't spend the entire night trapped in the broom closet of a haunted church. So they turn their flashlights back on to see who is playing. Sitting at the piano at the far end of the room is a black hunched over phantom. They scream and shut the door. Jake cries for a bit, then they run away through the back exit. The music stops as soon as they leave the church. They were hoping that the music stopped because it was over, but in reality, it was because the ghost had gotten up from the piano to chase them. They run a good distance before pausing to look back into the dark scenery. It seems like they've gotten away, but then the ghost finds them and they run away screaming. The camera cuts off as they fall back deeper into the woods. At least one of them survived and uploaded this video onto YouTube, where it's remained for the past 10 years. The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee is one of the most haunted hospitals on Earth. So much so that it's been officially designated as a paranormal research center on Google. Almost everyone that goes there has a paranormal experience. Take a YouTube channel called Lost Souls Paranormal, for example. One of the few research teams brave enough to go exploring the haunted hospital's basement. An investigator named Bailey splits from the group, and this is what he records underground. Running footsteps are coming from all directions, and are possibly even in the same room that he is. Suddenly, the idea of ghost hunting isn't as fun as it was 5 minutes ago, and so he doesn't go any further. This is enough paranormal evidence to convince me, but let me know if you think it was his friends making the noise. Years prior, another paranormal investigator named L.W. Drums was close to the same spot of the hospital and experienced strange ghost activity as well.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us.
The voice of somebody who isn't there mocks the investigator with an exaggerated sigh, and a shadow appears at around this time too.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us. Something just touched my head. Ooh.
Something jabs him from behind. When he turns around, the mysterious camera goes out of focus like something is right up on the lens, and I don't know if this is a third member of the team, but at 29 seconds a mysterious figure is definitely just sitting on the other side of the room staring at them. A Saudi Arabian ghost hunter known only as High claims to have caught a real jinn on camera. while exploring an abandoned house that he knows is haunted. I can't tell if this is a gap in the curtains or a ghost in the window. He presses onwards and reaches the second floor before things get beyond creepy.
في حد؟
Something paranormal is making movements.
بسم الله.
And staying one step ahead of the paranormal explorer at all times.
بسم الله بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء.
The excited ghost hunter runs from room to room trying to keep up, praying for strength all the while.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
As the ghost apparently runs into a tall cabinet, I can't help but wonder if it's just as afraid as he is.
بسم الله.
Cornered and with nowhere to go, the spirit finally has to rely on its supernatural defenses to get out of there quickly.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. 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 بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Scary noises are heard all around, doors shutting, cabinets opening, and soon a strange and bizarre paranormal mist floods the room. It's hard to say if this was real paranormal activity or dust kicked up from him throwing objects everywhere, but I think it's probably real and most certainly is creepy. This scary paranormal investigation comes from an unknown uploader somewhere in Russia or Ukraine. Two brave ghost hunters pull up to a lone house rotting in the woods, a haunted place known for strange poltergeist activity. The inside looks fairly normal, but being here gives them an unshakable feeling of being watched. They're exploring room to room and soon don't see much activity until they get towards the back of the house. That's when things get weird. Okay, that's a lot of scary stuff to happen at once. I counted 3 creepy things, so let's go through them all. We all saw the ghost throwing objects to the ground, so that's 1. You probably didn't see the shadow figure caught on camera seconds before it happened. That's 2. A rising cry after the ghost throws an object to the ground is the 3rd creepy thing. They are brave ghost hunters, so it's going to take more than that to make them scared enough to run back into the woods. More, but not much more. A ghost slams the door shut on a room that I guess they are forbidden to enter. Who knows what scary stuff went on back there. Strange secrets that even someone's ghost doesn't want you to know. And maybe it's just me, but right as the door slams shut, I think I see a shadow figure materialize at 1 minute and 55 seconds. Tell me if you see what I mean. Whatever they saw or felt or heard was scary enough to make them jump back in their car and never return. There is a demon in this abandoned house, and Dimitri from A Sip of Fear is about to face him. Inside the kitchen, he finds a strange trapdoor in the floor.
What is this?
But before checking out what's down there, the demon tells him he's here.
Кто ты?
He starts to grow paranoid. And later, a stationary camera captures some activity. The demon seems to be a one-hit wonder. And he tells Dmitri that he's too late. Then the lights go off.
Ответь. Ребят, короче, там походу все отключилось. ПГФу так больше не ответил.
Apparently, he's told Dmitri to leave, and this time Dmitri listens. I find the slamming doors were the most intense part of this visit. The demon wouldn't have to tell me twice. I would have left after the first warning. The demon that possessed this girl may have been exorcised, but it never left this place. YouTube channel Chamos investigates this abandoned house in which a girl underwent her exorcism. This is what happened. First, the presentation.
Barulho? Tem alguma coisa aí, velho? Cara, tem alguém aí, velho. Tem alguém aí, cara. Opa! Ei, você se afasta, se afasta. Isso? Ai, meu Deus! Olha isso! Olha isso, cara! O boneco, velho!
Why is the demon presenting this terrifying toy doll? It also moves a chair.
Meu Deus, cara! Deixa eu ali, velho.
A moment later, the baby crib is gone.
Cara do céu!
Things keep moving.
Cara, e essa menina de novo? Essa menina de novo, cara. Olha isso. Meu Deus, cara.
Notice the sound. You'll soon see what it is.
Olha só, cara. Olha só o poder desse demônio, velho. Oh, meu Deus do céu, velho. Tá maluco, velho. Sai daí, velho. Sai daí, cara. Olha aí, velho. Tá maluco, cara.
Later, as they're getting a reading on their K2, something even creepier unfolds.
Que é aquilo lá? Ah, cara. Que isso? Olha aí, cara. Olha isso, cara. Meu Deus do céu, velho. Olha isso. Que isso, velho? Vocês estão vendo isso? Vocês estão vendo isso, cara? Ah, meu Deus do céu, velho. Meu Deus, cara. Cara do céu, velho.
Was that doll floating, descending, or is it ascending to new heights? No matter what the answer is, I'd be getting the heck out of this place ASAP. Published by Dark Ghost Paranormal in August of 2021, Dennis set up cameras in a bunker hidden beneath a school. And this abandoned bunker in Germany has some mysteries up its sleeve. One camera captures a door slowly opening. In another room in the school above, Dennis asks for a sign that someone's here, and this is the response.
Дай мне знак, если надо где-то еще искать.
In the bunker, a blast makes Dennis jump. It sounds like it's coming from this box. Later, the light from his camera shuts off, and he's left in the darkness. Through the spirit box, the spirits tell him it's a trap. Strange carnival-like music seems to be coming from the spirit box. As Dennis's lights continue to malfunction, he has no escape. The door to the room is locked, and he can't get it open. He is in the darkness again with only a lighter to keep him company, while something unknown growls from the shadows. Later, he is told through the spirit box not to come. He finds the previously locked door mysteriously open to him. After racing out of there with his equipment, we can only imagine that he heeded the spirit's advice and never returned, which is a smart call. Cuyahoga official are being stalked by a mysterious being in the darkness. They first capture this figure as they walk toward the haunted place. Still, they do not leave. They continue exploring.
कौन है? आ गया।
ये कैसे हिली?
वो देखो, वो दीवार पे
रिकॉर्ड हुआ।
ओहो, हुआ यार, वो दीवार पे था यार कोई। वो
They then hear some creepy noises around them.
इतनी गंदगी है यार यहाँ पे भाई।
एक तो आवाजें आ रही यार, ये देखो ये
And then they see it.
अल्लाह अकबर, यही थी ये यार।
It is like the figure is taunting them.
अल्लाह अल्लाह।
And it all comes to a head.
हो कौन? ये क्या?
कौन हो आप?
What does it want from them?
ओ पीछे वो दीवार पे।
It seems to appear and disappear repeatedly,
वो देख यार।
only to appear again in the end. What is this figure? And what does this all mean? Only the devil knows, which is why this is one scary video they tried to hide from us. A YouTuber named This Is Dan Bell has made a name for himself by exploring some of the creepiest abandoned places on earth. This time he is seeing what he can find at an abandoned house outside of Baltimore City, the former home of the notorious Stephen Craig Johnson to be exact. In 1983, Stephen Craig Johnson brutally ended the life of his child in a fit of delusional rage. The case grew famous all up and down the entire East Coast, and it doesn't look like anyone has lived in the house ever since. As Dan Bell travels deeper inside, you can feel the sadness and despair clinging to every room. Amidst the discarded debris and wreckage, Dan Bell finds a weird handwritten letter in the closet with illustrations of a woman on the front and back. There's a brief paragraph talking about how evil the house is and what can be done to stop it. Some of the handwriting is kind of hard to read, so if anyone wants to type this letter out, I would appreciate it. Two things seem kind of sketchy about this letter to me though. First of all, the ink does not look faded enough to be something from the 80s, and the paper does not seem very aged either. I don't think it was penned by anyone in the Johnson family, so maybe someone else snuck inside and placed it here in recent years. Dan Bell is understandably nervous at this point, but he has come this far and there's still an entire second floor left to explore. He eventually finds himself in a stale attic covered with scattered documents and heaps of trash. He's just about to leave when he makes eye contact with something that has been watching him all along. A vulture, the devourer of fallen animals, silently regards him from the floor. Its gaze is calm and expectant, almost prideful in a way. If this really is a wild animal and not staged, then it is almost certainly a bad omen for sure. Kenny Brown, 17, posted this video of his dog Lola sensing a ghostly presence in his home in 2013. At the start of the clip, the dog is seen backing nervously out of the kitchen into the hallway. It then turns to walk out into the hall. The dog is a tripper, the YouTuber says. There's something in the kitchen that's freaking her out. He goes into the kitchen to investigate, and there seems to be nothing at all. The dog peeks her head out from the hallway again, and her owner says that she wants to eat, but she's too paranoid to enter the kitchen. What is she seeing in there? She then walks cautiously around the corner and lays on her dog bed in the living room. She lays there for a time, but then gets up and heads into the hallway once again. She creeps back into the kitchen and looks as though she may be over her fear.
Watch. Just back out. Look.
And she eats a bit of her food, but the courage lasts only a moment as the dog again cautiously walks backwards out of the kitchen, looking fearfully at something. She darts back into the hallway. She heads back in again to eat more of her food, only to back out again, looking the whole while at the same spot. She cannot remove her eyes from whatever is making her so fearful. She looks around the corner one last time, but won't risk going in there again. So what is Lola afraid of? Some in the comments section of this video think it's the frequencies in the television that are affecting her. Both make sense, but likely only one is the real answer. This video requires a bit of backstory. In 1961, Massachusetts housewife Stella Lansing started to experience things of an extraterrestrial nature, including men in black, humanoids, UFOs, and otherworldly visions. She captured much of her experiences on various types of film. It wasn't until 1967 that Stella bought a silent 8mm film camera. Although she'd taken photographs of the odd sightings, the film camera captured more strange images and structures that Stella never saw in person, but that turned up on film. And yet again, Stella came across the strange lights while driving on Route 32. She exited her car to see them better, as did another driver. The lights were yellowish and, as Stella described, silently walking from east to west to the old cemetery. The other driver had also seen the lights. This was Stella's chance to catch the orbs on her 8mm camera, so she headed back home to retrieve it and then returned to the intersection. More lights appeared, with one of the red ones bouncing like a rubber ball, as she described. A friend showed up and the pair watched the lights together until they burst into a white light. As she continued her recording of these strange events into the 70s, she discovered an odd clock-like pattern on her photos and films, as well as geometric pattern overlapping the frames on the film itself. The mystery only grew in 1991 when a TV show called Sightings did a segment on Stella's video logs. When they exported her silent 8mm film to VHS, unknown voices were heard. Stella has since passed away in 2012, and no one can explain the mystery of her sightings. A YouTube channel called DYP Official finds some kind of abandoned facility way out of the woods. One climbs to the top of a big blue container and sticks their head over the end, which is scary for reasons I'll get back to soon enough. Two other large vats grab their attention.
Found a whole thing of sulfuric acid in the woods. Sulfuric acid. Yo, please stop, bro, please. Bro.
He would have kept turning the release valve had they both not shouted at him to stop. I don't know if it was full, but if so, he would have been in deep trouble and might not have survived an acid spray. In the shed, they find a gas mask and large science beakers used to hold chemicals. One of the vials is still full, so they take it outside for a better look until their friend grabs it from them.
Boom!
Luckily for them, it doesn't break. Breathing in any unknown chemical, whether indoors or outdoors, could end up with them on the floor. Inside of an abandoned building, they find a label that got me curious. I googled what polyseed inoculum is, and the answer sheds light on what this facility really is. Basically, this is used to break down biological waste. They've been playing around in a biological waste treatment center the whole time, touching things that ordinarily require a full biohazard suit to handle. Whatever chemicals they were handling probably were not safe, and the air quality can't be much better. The type of place that could really mess you up after maybe a few visits. In other words, certainly not a place where you'd ever want to stick your face over an old chemical vat and take a big whiff. YouTuber Ali H lives in a haunted house. After his dogs woke him in the middle of the night, he was confronted, but not by his dogs, by the demon itself. Watch the security camera footage here. Ali says there was a knocking noise which disturbed his dogs. That's why they woke him up for comfort. He got up to check things out, and when he did, something sinister happened. After having his neck squeezed and then thrown to the floor, Ali somehow went back to bed. Although this would definitely not be my reaction to being choked by an unseen force, I do believe Ali's story. Watch again at how he was lifted off the floor by the demon. Maybe Ali is just so used to dealing with the haunted happenings in his home, he's become indifferent to them. I think this is getting dangerous for him though. He should take everyone's advice in the comments and move from this haunted place before it's too late. Is this the portal to the fiery depths below? The team from Proving Demons thinks so. In this scary video, they're screaming back in the screaming house. As they prepare to communicate with the spirits get there first.
I'm not ready for this, but let's just do it.
Oh, why is it starting? Why is it starting?
Do you know what I'm about to do? Do you actually know what I'm about to do?
The device was triggered and then a tap is heard, and now it's time for a scream with an Aztec whistle. In the distance, they hear something.
What the Sounds like the death whistle.
What's that?
That sounded like the death whistle. Are you recording?
Someone's outside. Someone's outside.
Stop. Are you recording?
Yes.
So it's not just playing.
Are the spirits screaming back? They switch places to see if they're hearing the same thing.
You blow on the top. Purse your lips around the top and blow into it with the megaphone in front of it.
On a recording device, they hear the spirit laughing.
Maniacal laughing.
Is it laughing at their games? To me, the retaliatory screaming following the whistle does sound like someone is screaming back, but this laughter is the most unsettling part of the investigation in my opinion. A YouTuber named JackCKXX is exploring an abandoned factory with some friends when they come across stairs leading to the upper levels. Something feels incredibly off about the place, but none of them want to look like the scared ones, so they all move deeper into the complex. They search around for a few minutes and don't find much besides an old picture. The factory has been abandoned for well over a decade, yet it feels like something is watching and following them at every turn. Finally, one of them has had enough and doesn't care about being brave anymore. He looks down a pitch black hallway and says,
"Oh, Jack, I think we should leave."
Now they are sure something is nearby and they start speaking in hushed whispers. It's hard to tell what they are saying, but it's clear that they are quite ready to get out of here. Meanwhile, whatever is watching them from the shadows is no longer worried about staying quiet and seems to be approaching fast. There's nothing left to do except find the nearest exit and get out, but everyone is too scared to think anymore and they remain frozen in place, listening in terror as footsteps draw near. Finally, something scares them into immediate action. They all run as fast as they can and quickly make it out of the factory in less than a minute. I have no idea what could make that noise, but I'm almost positive it wasn't human. A YouTuber named Rifat claims that going to this haunted place in Palestine proved to be a psychological undoing. Let's see what was so scary in this paranormal exploration gone wrong. He seems to have trouble keeping his balance and stumbles backwards twice for no reason.
يا شباب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا شباب قلت أجرب الله يقطع شر يوم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
At this point, I think he realizes there's no way he should be falling 3 times in 5 minutes and thinks a ghost could be near, as he is trying to decide if this is really happening or just his imagination. Some of the best paranormal EVP evidence ever recorded is caught on camera.
هذه قصة وأنا والله العظيم خايف يعني ممنوع في الليل عن جد ممنوع يعني نطلع هيك كمان إيه إيش هاد؟
Loud and scary screaming noises are coming from the woods. The screams of a human, most certainly not an animal.
يعني من وين أطلع؟
He doesn't investigate the noise because this could be a spirit setting up a trap that he is too smart to fall for. I'm glad he didn't go any further. If he had gone any deeper into the forest to see what it was, then this scary video might not ever have been uploaded. I have a feeling that he narrowly avoided getting ambushed by some group of bandits or even something paranormal. An adventurer in India sees something truly chilling.
अस्तगफिरुल्लाह ये तो वही चुड़ैल है ये कोई औरत खड़ी हुई है नीचे हम छत के ऊपर आए हैं कैमरे उतारने के लिए और ये औरत नीचे खड़ी हुई है भागो इधर से
He diverts his horrified gaze, and when he looks up, it's gone, but not for long.
ये आप देख सकते हैं ये कमरे भी आप देख सकते हैं लॉक किए हुए हैं इन्होंने ये आप सुन सकते हैं
Red blotches on the curtains mark where an apparition has touched the cloth. I did not see these handprints here moments before. He goes outside and finds a drastic change of weather, further evidence of displeasing a powerful spirit.
ये आप देख सकते हैं ये आवाज़ें भी आप सुन सकते हैं
He turns around to go inside for shelter, only to be greeted by the sound of a child's voice through a partially open door.
अभी दोस्तों इधर से जा रहे हैं इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट टाइम हम जब आएंगे किसी बुजुर्ग को साथ में लेकर आएंगे
He wisely decides to wait out the storm outside and does not go back in. I suppose he figures it would be quicker and less scary to chance it with the lightning, rather than return to whatever poltergeist activity is waiting for him there. Stalking should never be taken lightly, as is made clear by this next video, published by Terry TV in December of 2020. A streamer named Ellie Gatto, dressed in costume, is walking through the streets of a Japanese city at night. Fun, right? Well, it was until this guy showed up. The stalker, captured on camera, is not even trying to hide his intent, walking alongside the streamer with a sword known as a katana. He smiles as Ellie Gatto laughs uncomfortably.
Why is this following us? Why is he following us? Let's go this way. Oh god.
When she and her friend double around to try and lose him, the man follows. Ellie Gatto says they should go find her friend's husband. As she continues to try and lose the man, her laughter turns to real fear and concern. She even starts running as she attempts to call someone on the phone. She is brought to tears as the man gives chase. Fear Tales explains that a bystander noticed what was going on and pointed the girls to a hospital for protection.
This guy has noticed. Can I help us go to police?
He is seen in the video running alongside El Gato and serving as a witness to the man's predatory behavior. Later, the stalker is seen being led by authorities into a station. Although this scenario seemingly started as a joke, it quickly took a terrifying turn. Thankfully, this bystander didn't just stand by. "You couldn't pay me money to stay in this house." Posted to TikTok by Jen Barari, the TikToker explains that strange things have been happening in her barn-style home. As she's speaking, she hears something, even though she's home alone. She follows the noise. You can hear repeated loud banging coming from the living room. Her cat looks uneasy. When she enters to find no one there, she asks the spirits to stop and leave.
Can you stop?
She then turns to capture her reflection in the television, and it looks like a dark shadow is creeping up behind her. Turning around, there's nothing there. In a later clip, she is showing her viewers the pond outside when a dark shadow passes behind her in the reflection of the window. She walks around the house turning all the lights on, and something starts banging again. She takes this as her cue to leave.
Oh my it's okay. It's okay. Holy.
In the comments, TikToker Danny writes, "My electricity bill would be so high because I would never turn a single light off in that house ever." Some say this made their skin crawl. Others suggest sage. Still others say this is beyond sage. I say you should avoid finishing this video unless you're truly brave. When you're arguing whether a shirt is red or maroon, the ghosts in your presence will know they've had enough of you two. Published to YouTube in May of 2020, this is what happens when a ghost gets fed up with your bickering, throws up his hands and storms out of the house he's haunting. The uploader explains that during their last visit to this place, they experienced the door slamming but didn't have a chance to record it, so this time they returned to capture it on film. This video is cut down to 3 minutes of the 50 that were recorded. The clip shows the boys arguing whether or not one of their shirts is red, before deciding to call it quits with the filming, since it had been nearly an hour. Just then, something clearly slams in the distance. The uploader says his friend thought it was the hinges of the door rather than a ghost, but decides that the video is proof it wasn't the hinges. He also claims that he and a friend saw a shadow person in this building as well. The uploader writes, "Something said that it could have been air in the last upload, but it wasn't sure. The thing, if it was air, it would have opened it. The air is coming from outside, so it would push out to open. Instead, what we caught was a ghost slamming the door the opposite direction of where the air was coming from, so the force of the door slamming was going against the air." This was filmed in Harlingen, Texas, and there wasn't much airflow in the place according to the uploader. The group was sweating from so much stale heat. Well, maybe the ghost was too. This creepy abandoned house is one of the most haunted places in the UK, and you're about to find out why. YouTube team The Ouija Brothers investigate. As they approach the home, they think someone is there.
Thought I seen something up in the top window then.
You might have.
Oh god.
Because the door's locked.
I honestly thought I seen something up in the window.
They continue inside, and Carl thinks he sees something.
Whoa! What? Car? No.
Run.
It just says run on mine.
That message is chilling. In another hallway, they hear two distinct taps.
Cough.
They hear another unexplained noise next.
You hear that?
I didn't.
It's okay.
In your room?
Just in front of me, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't make a noise. I'll check back on that.
And another.
What was that? Is that you?
You weren't me. It sounded like something coming from a cupboard.
It was like, what?
I'm not sure if any of this was actual proof that the place is haunted, but I do think these mysterious sounds, coupled with what the guys saw here, may warrant further investigation. Exploring with Josh is a YouTube channel dedicated to taking a closer look at all sorts of frightening locations. This time they decide to check out an abandoned school that is reportedly the source of black magic rituals. Pentagrams spray painted on the wall give them a general feeling of unease all around as they make their way deeper into the building. They feel watched at times and are worried about coming across someone at any given moment. I notice some sort of strange ephemeral smoke follows them throughout the video. It's visible in two different scenes. The first time happens about 5 minutes in.
We see some. Damn, this is spooky. Hopefully we don't run into anything crazy.
Then it happens again here roughly a minute and a half later.
Yo, this one's a little bit scary. If we hear anything, let's just...
The strange smoke is definitely not their breath because it only happens twice instead of throughout the entire video. Coincidentally, the smoke appears as soon as they sense that something is nearby. As if that weren't enough, they have another random paranormal encounter that is much more blatant.
Oh my god, did you get that on tape? That is insane.
I don't see any block light around the door frame to indicate one of their friends was on the other side. In fact, it doesn't look like the door even has a knob to use. There just doesn't seem to be any plausible reason for this door to open on its own. Walking down an empty hallway can sometimes send shivers all over your body, especially when the hallway looks like this. Spurgburglar from Washington in the US uploaded this spooky video in 2016. He says that his flat is upstairs, and he makes his way through this hallway in the middle of the night 6 days a week. The hallway in and of itself is spooky. The sound on top of it is nothing short of ominous. The noise certainly is thumping and rhythmic like music, but it's unclear what it is or where it's coming from. It gets louder as the uploader approaches the end of the hallway and the beginning of a new one. A new sound enters into the mix, like a heart pounding. While the thumping declines, the heart pounding remains. Then you hear some sort of haunting music enter in faintly, before it escalates the closer he gets to the elevator. The video of the hallway also distorts a bit. Your heart races as you anticipate a jump scare from something unknown, but when he pushes the elevator button, the audio disappears. What could this possibly be? I don't know if I want to know. Live TV caught the earth-trembling tsunami that smashed into Japan after a magnitude 9 quake on March 11, 2011. The images that followed are pretty terrifying. The earthquake was so powerful that it was felt everywhere, from the fjords in Norway to the ice sheet of Antarctica. It was so powerful that it redistributed the Earth's mass and shifted it on its axis. Our day's length has been cut short by a microsecond. It was so powerful that Honshu, Japan's main island, was moved about 8 feet east, and as the tsunami traversed the Pacific, 110,000 nesting seabirds were taken out by the 5-foot wave. It was so powerful that aftershocks continued to hit Japan during the year that followed, 5,000 to be exact. It was so powerful that 6 years later, and the tsunami's devastation is still being dealt with in Japan, where of the 150,000 evacuees still left, whose homes were lost to the quake, a third are still in temporary housing. As for the cost of damages in US dollars, It rang in at about 199 billion, but because the earthquake was followed up by the tsunami, and both were unexpected, the 2-in-1 had devastating results. It got worse. A cooling system failure resulted from the tsunami at the Fukushima nuclear power plant, releasing radioactive materials. A horrible event in and of itself. Told you, nature can be terrifying. A YouTuber named Outdoors with Eric patrols his property at night because he suspects a mysterious creature in the woods. It's a scary exploration in a creepy location for sure, but Eric wants to get as much evidence on camera as he can, so he keeps his fear in check and marches forward. At 1 minute and 43 seconds, he hears some really scary noises coming from the woods. I don't know what kind of creature would be up late at night screaming in the darkness. What does it sound like to you?
Hear that?
He walks for another minute until the scary noises give him pause again, much louder and closer this time.
Man, you guys hear that?
He feels watched and zooms in close with his night vision camera. You can barely make out the shape of a creature at first, so let me point it out for you.
That is bizarre.
When he plays with the setting, he gets a much better sighting on the creature, and soon discovers there are 2 of them across the stream.
They're coming closer. Yeah.
2 dots in the distance mark where he thinks they are. The screaming creatures of the night. No doubt they are real, and so are the scary noises. But the real question is, what are they? Filmed in what appears to be an abandoned house, this explorer is searching out the lie of the jinn. Published by Paranormal Maya in March of 2022, the cameraman tours the home in silence, when all of a sudden he starts hearing strange noises in the next room.
Çantamdaki olayı düzelteceğim, takır 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 takır.
He crouches down for a moment, waiting out the chaos. Then he approaches a previously empty room. Standing there is a mysterious cupboard set up with a mirror standing facing him. The man jumps back, wondering how this contraption could suddenly appear. He takes a step into the room, flashing his camera spotlight into the mirror. While standing there, he hears an EVP in Turkish that translates to "come from there." He kicks the mirror and the cardboard contraption over, stomping on it, and then pries a hanging horseshoe from the frame of the doorway. According to superstition, horseshoes hung over a doorway, with their ends facing down, means that good luck will spill over, stopping evil from entering. That doesn't appear to have worked in this case. Hospitals are incredibly haunted places. Posted to YouTube in September of 2019, HRJ Paranormal Adventures navigates this hospital. Situated at the foothills of the South Pittsburgh Mountain, the 68,000 square foot hospital was founded in 1959, but the haunting may date back to well before it was built. Unlike Penhurst, there are no reports of mistreatment at this hospital during its operation, but there were reports by hospital employees of paranormal activity, such as inanimate objects moving of their own accord, disembodied voices, and dark shadowy figures, including a 7-foot-tall man on the 3rd floor, who is believed to be a former surgeon who practiced at the facility. He's not the only one haunting the 3rd floor. A toddler spirit and an elderly woman have both been observed there. 2 other spirits, a janitor and a female spirit, known as the Naughty Nurse, haunt the basement. This has drawn many paranormal investigators to the hospital since it closed in 1998. HRJ Paranormal Adventures manages to capture a few paranormal entities in this video. One is a ghostly reflection that appears twice at 3 minutes 53 seconds, and then again at 3 minutes 58 seconds.
All the reception, all the people
follow the crew on their hour-long investigation of this haunted place, and you might just capture a few more spirit sightings and disembodied voices. Facebook stalking is not uncommon. What happens when cyber stalking is taken to the next level? Christian Pratt knows. A college classmate at the University of Central Florida messaged her on Facebook. On the other side, Patrick must shown a cyber stalker that would soon become obsessed with her and likely scar her for life. At first, the contact seemed normal. He wanted to know what she was up to, how life and work was going, but after she replied, things soon took a turn. Patrick started messaging Pratt relentlessly on Twitter and Facebook, including one tweet that said, "It is up to you now to save your life, I have no options." He called her 40 times in the span of 5 hours at one point. He made 27 videos about her that were thought to be lost.
You don't want me for life, Kristen Pratt? That's a very, very unwise decision.
This obsession was torment to Pratt, and she did what she could to stop it. She changed her phone number, but he somehow found it and continued to harass her. She even tried to alter her appearance, but nothing worked. Short of reporting Patrick to the police, which she finally did, he was arrested and sentenced to 4 years behind bars, a much shorter sentence than Pratt received. She's been given a life sentence of fear and paranoia. She says she is constantly looking over her shoulder. Most of the time, security cameras capture hours and hours of useless footage. Sometimes, however, they capture something like this. Published in September of 2013, YouTuber Rainy Schooler writes, "A woman walks out of the darkness on a cold and wet night in the mountains far from a busy road and no immediate neighbors. The security camera is aimed into the wilderness and you can see a tree to the right side of the screen but nothing else. That is until, right in the middle of the shot, the figure appears, walks and stops and turns awkwardly, not turning with her feet but just twisting with her upper body. Then she walks forward again before taking a sharp right turn and veering out of sight. The video moves forward about 45 seconds until the woman is seen winding around the tree and then is spotted back in the middle again, looking off into the wilderness, moving in the same strange start-stop fashion that she was doing before. A different security camera captures the woman walking up towards the house. Out of sight, it's not clear what she did alongside of the home, but she is soon seen again walking haphazardly away and around the same area near the tree in the back. She did this for 10 minutes, the video notes. Many in the comments think this woman must have been on something, but in the middle of nowhere. What do you think? I'm just glad they had security cameras so the homeowners were aware of her activities. While an elderly woman was napping, a spirit decided to disturb her sleep. Captured on a home security camera in Singapore, YouTuber Gilbert Chan shares what happens when a ghost wants you to get no rest. Watch the woman's blanket. But that is just the start. After readjusting, the lady goes back to sleep, but not for long. After the air freshener on the table flies across the room before her very eyes, she decides that sleeping isn't on her agenda today. According to the YouTuber, this whole neighborhood is reputed to be cursed, but why bother this poor old woman? My theory is that the spirit doesn't want anyone to get any rest, since he wasn't able to rest in peace. Orkun Isitmak is a popular YouTuber from Turkey. who goes exploring on all kinds of adventures. He's one of the few people willing to take a trip to the abandoned city of Chernobyl, a place where few dare to go after a nuclear power plant meltdown in the 80s left the area covered in radiation. He brings with him a Geiger meter used to measure levels of radiation, and a couple of scary moments are caught on camera. In this spot, the meter reaches about 50 units. That doesn't sound that bad, but then I realized an x-ray only takes seconds, whereas he's probably been standing here for hours. Big difference. And when he starts to go down here...
Radyasyonun kalbine giden kapı burası. Evet. Artmaya başladı. Yok buraya asla gidemeyiz.
The Geiger meter warns him not to. This tunnel is the heart of radiation, he says, and wisely turns around. The glare is covering the screen, so I don't know how many units the meter reached, but if it was in the hundreds, then permanent damage might have already been done in that instant. Later, as he's exploring a research facility lined with jars of old specimens, he finds a room with nothing but cribs, a room that no doubt has the scariest and most mysterious backstory of all. What was this facility working on, and why would they need to keep so many kids down here? On September 24th, 2016, Corey McKeague went missing around the area of Bury St. Edmunds in Suffolk, England. This CCTV footage published in October of 2016 to YouTube by #FindCorey shows the serviceman's last known movements. From one angle, he is seen somewhere meandering down the road, not walking a straight line. He passes two men and appears to drop something on the ground, which he quickly picks up before continuing on. Another camera view shows him walking casually around a corner with his hands in his pockets. The town center footage shows McKeague enter a cul-de-sac with wheelie bins in it. This is where he was last seen. His mobile phone was tracked from this cul-de-sac to a landfill. At first, the police weren't planning to search for the missing man there, as the garbage truck along that route was only estimated to be carrying 33 pounds. Later, however, they discovered the weight was around 220 pounds. The €2.1 million investigation has not yet turned up Corey, although authorities believe that the missing man was crushed by a garbage can, and that his passed away body is somewhere in the landfill, and some theories suggest foul play, but regardless, his disappearance remains a mystery. The search for Corey McKeague continues. In many of these drone-on-human encounters, the drone is more the predator than the prey, but in this encounter, the drone operator is kind of both. Jacob Vetter, who published this drone footage in May of 2015, and claims that this crazy lady was doing weird stuff on his porch. In the video, you can indeed see a woman on a porch, dressed with her t-shirt overhead. When she spots the drone up above, she does as most people on this list have done. She tries to knock the drone out of the sky. First, she uses a stick. That doesn't go over so well. Then she tries plush dice. That doesn't work either. Next, she is seen swinging what appears to be a black purse, but she doesn't throw it. Instead, she puts it on and leaves the yard, and paces back and forth waywardly on the sidewalk. It's uncertain what she's waiting for, if she's waiting for anything at all. Finally, she gets on her bike that's been parked on the sidewalk all along, and she takes off rather clumsily, circling around the yard, then jutting out right into the road. It appears that she's definitely on something. What, we can only guess, but the biggest question is, what was she doing on this guy's porch in the first place? YouTuber Trevor Heasley published this clip in August of 2016. The footage was on the set of Postcards, a 2008 Pasadena City College student film. He'd taken it during the film shoot at the Metropolitan State Mental Hospital. Although the cast and crew heard a lot of ruckus during filming, they didn't see anything unusual. That is, until Trevor got his camera home and watched the footage back. The abandoned state mental hospital appears quite eerie in the footage. Darkened windows on a hot summer day, The footage involves lots of close-ups and long shots of the area, including some gags with the cast. Everyone seems to be having a good time on the shoot, but will what happened next haunt them? During the shoot of one scene, the vapor-thin figure of a ghost appears to be walking across the hallway right before two of the cast. Apparently completely unaware of what just crossed their path, come running through. Okay, so it probably won't haunt them, being as they weren't even aware of what was happening before their own very eyes. That is, unless the spirit somehow inhabited one of them. I think we need a follow-up with the cast and crew of Postcards, and maybe then we can solve this scary mystery. Have you ever dreamt that you found someone in your bed, but when you pulled the covers away, there was no one there? Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by BobbyGO1, the uploader writes, "She plays this off as a joke, but I find it quite weird. The quite weird joke was posted to TikTok originally by TJY. In the video, she says she just came into her room, and it literally looks like there's someone lying in her bed. She keeps saying ew as she approaches the thing, not knowing if indeed there is someone underneath. As she steps closer,
Ew! No! Ew! Ew! Oh my god, is there someone there? No.
the hair stands up on the back of your neck. You prepare yourself to have something or someone jump out at you, but when she lifts the blanket, nothing is there. A wave of relief washes over you, and probably her too. Watching it again, it's very strange how a body appears to be lying under the blanket, and when she yanks it from her bed, it doesn't look thick enough to bunch up like that. Redditor The Classic Drew admits in the comments, "If I saw that in real life, I would be so scared." Agreed. I probably wouldn't work up the nerve to approach it. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Project Bad 720, this Redditor wrote, "We moved out of our last house cause the activity was getting out of hand. Now it's acting up again." The Redditor also included that they're in West Texas. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. There was certainly some discussion about this video in the comments. Creepy Girl Tia wrote, "Sounds like you have brought something that a spirit is attached to, that you brought to your new place, or the spirit is attached to you." And Fiery Witchburn 333 has a similar sentiment saying, "The houses aren't haunted, you are. Seek help." And the uploader responded saying, "I actually believe I am being followed, so this makes sense. Do you think that's what's going on here? Let me know in the comments." When you want to get away from it all and get back to nature, camping is an ideal way to self-isolate, but sometimes you're not alone. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by WillyComics64, the Redditor writes, "I found this guy near my campsite, and I don't know who he is or where he came from. The clip shows a man lurking in the trees near Willie's campsite. He appears and then just as quickly vanishes. While some in the comments don't find this all that odd, as hiking is part of camping, others think it's just a little weird that the stranger didn't introduce himself and just seemed to disappear in an instant." Willie explains in the comments that the situation freaked him out because no one was renting the site next to him, and he didn't see this man at any other campsite or on the trail that loops around the campground. Redditor Laura Malia 649 writes, "And this is why I fear people when I camp more than the wildlife around me." Others think that the man acted very suspiciously and hoped that the Redditor has something to protect himself with. Redditor Faker Hoach 10,000 suggests that perhaps the man was growing deep in the woods and just came out to look after his plants. Willie can only hope that these assessments are right, because if this man is anything other than a hiker, a camper, or a grower, then who knows what his intentions are. This poltergeist is not at all timid. Published by JCG Dragon in August of 2019, this scary video was filmed in a haunted home in Argentina. The video shows a bedroom door slamming as hard as it can. The cameraman approaches the door, opens it, and in the opposite room, captures objects being thrown on the floor. Assumedly by the same poltergeist, the cameraman enters the room crying in fear. When he turns the corner, there is nothing there, but slamming is heard again.
Ay, a la concha de la lora.
And he turns to find the door from the other room has slammed shut again. And what's worse, the power goes out. It sounds like the camera is dropped to the floor.
Ay, no. Ay, no.
What havoc will now ensue in the darkness? As the video ends there, it's left up to our imaginations, but judging from how these events are playing out, I can't think it's anything good. A YouTuber named Davey Dustin has a channel that is all gameplay videos, except for this one. This is when he and his friend decide to explore no less than 4 old abandoned houses in the spirit of Halloween. Most of the houses are a little more than a series of rusted out rooms, but the final house feels way off. They feel out of place almost as soon as they step in, but they manage to get through a locked door and keep going. Almost immediately, they notice broken glass on the floor stained in red.
Is that blood?
They continue to find more red stains in other rooms and debate whether this is paint or something else more sinister. Orbs are circling all around them now as they investigate deeper into the house. Something is very wrong in this section and they can feel it. Eventually, they discovered a tattered old photograph of a family. It looks to be at least 20 years old, if not more. Maybe they used to live here, and if so, perhaps the red substance on the floor used to belong to them. Things only get worse upon reaching the basement, where a mysterious hole in the wall gives them both a dreadful feeling. A single white tennis shoe is laying just outside the hole, forgotten long ago until this very moment. Maybe the other shoe is buried in the hole, still attached to its owner. An empty room, a casket, and this disturbing noise.
Hello?
What would you do if you found yourself in this situation? Twitter user Sitio Paranormal shares this terrifying video. Things only escalate from here.
Hello?
After fleeing only to find her way out locked, she returns to the casket and discovers this. This video's first-person perspective makes it all the more creepy to me. I'm terrified until the end that someone or something will soon pop up behind her. But this is where the video ends, on a cliffhanger. I did some digging and it appears this video is from Shudder's movie VHS 94. At least that gives some sense of relief. Allie H claims to have bought this mystery box for $1,000. The bottom of the box is covered with paper towels, so he can't see what's underneath. He absent-mindedly reaches straight into the box without a second thought, a decision he soon regrets.
But something literally just, what the pricked me? Guys, I think I just screwed up.
Allie H is pricked by a strange needle that's tangled in tufts of foreign hair. The rest of the items appear to be weird chemicals that Allie H can't identify. By the end of the video, his finger is throbbing and he knows he needs medical attention quick.
I'm literally going to the hospital with this whole package, and I'm gonna just tell them what happened, and I'm just gonna be straight up with them. But look at this.
I didn't see any actual liquids inside of the syringe, which is good, but I guess there could still be some sort of contagion on the tip of the needle itself. I was thinking he should have washed his hands immediately, but be sure to let me know if there are some extra steps Ali H could have taken to save his health. Ali H made this video in August of 2018, and at the moment, no update has been provided. Crazy EVPs and spiritual mists run amok in the haunted Skinner's Tavern. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Paranormal Purgatory writes, "We captured what looks like a spirit trying to manifest in the doorway." They also captured some insane dialogues with the Beyond as they attempted to communicate with the spirits inside this haunted place.
See it for a little bit. See it for a little bit. See if we can hear anything.
After an EVP translates a spirit whispering, "All pretty I am," a partial manifestation is caught in this doorway.
Okay. Oh, good God. Okay. Oh, good God. I'm gonna have to get this button.
Right in the middle of the entry, you can see a trace of a ghostly mist as the camera pans round. The Redditor doesn't appear to notice it in the moment, as he calmly asks the house at large if he can get a drink. Don't blame him, he's probably gonna need a drink again when he plays this back. Nadim Shah suspects he's caught some paranormal things on video when he goes exploring an abandoned building that is little more than pillars in the dark. He suspects a place this creepy has to be haunted, and the ghost hunter's instincts are not wrong.
हम देखते हैं अगर हमें कोई यहाँ पे भारी चीज़ या कोई जिनों का साया नज़र आता है कि नहीं। हम जिन की तलाश में निकल तो ओह नाजरीन, ये कुछ हिलता हुआ हमें नज़र आया है। तो ये आवाज़ें कैसी आ रही हैं? आए नाजरीन, हम हिम्मत करके वहाँ जाने की कोशिश करते।
2 ghost sightings are enough for Nadim. He needs a paranormal encounter up close to be fully convinced. He follows the ghosts into the darkness for one final sighting.
इसको देखते हैं, ये कौन सी मखलूक है, क्या चीज़ है। इसको हम पकड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं। ये इस तरफ से नजर आ रही है, इधर से हम जाने की कोशिश करते हैं।
He's all alone when a slow-moving shadow figure glides across the pillar without making a sound. It's not someone walking behind him either, because Nadim would already be blocking out the light himself. It's a real ghost sighting as far as I'm concerned. A paranormal entity, a moving shadow that deeply creeps him out and sends him on his way. Enough said. A YouTuber called Are You Amazed decides to try an urban legend, which, if done correctly, will transport him to the spirit realm after pressing floor numbers in a special sequence. Nothing seems to be happening until he presses the last elevator button, which, as you can see here, is clearly a 6. They start to get scared when the elevator hits the 6th floor and promptly keeps moving.
Yo, I pressed 6. Yo, where is he?
The door gets stuck for a while on the 11th floor and then suddenly opens. A strange man they have never seen before is standing before them with clasped hands and a knowing look on his face. What's weird is how the man doesn't even seem to get into the elevator. As they step around him and rush down the stairs, Are You Amazed still not as sure exactly what happened, or if the scary random encounter was supernatural. I guess the person waiting for them could have just been a normal guy waiting for the elevator. But if that's the case, then I'm not sure why it didn't stop at the 6th floor first. Also, I should say that the number 11 is considered an unlucky number in many cultures. So it might not be a coincidence that this is the floor they stopped on. Things can get out of hand. This video reveals when people and things have gone just a little too far. Sometimes those darndest things send chills down our spine. This video will make you question the afterlife. Tariq Elite writes, a woman goes to her mother's grave to visit. Her little girl seems to be waving and talking to someone and even kisses them.
What are you waving at, Leah?
Bye, kids. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Tariq goes on to ask if it's true that they can see into spiritual realms. The video shows a sweet girl, likely not older than 2, standing near a headstone waving. She appears to be looking up into the nothingness but seeing something. She greets the invisible specter, standing on the top of the grave to get a better look. She even reaches with one pointed finger before dismounting from the grave. Some in the comments suggest that the young girl's frequency hasn't been fully compromised yet by the earth, while others say that our ancestors are always with us. Do you agree? Are young ones able to visually access a frequency that we're not capable of reaching? This video seems to be proof that there really is something just beyond the veil. Would you get on a small wooden boat in a murky pond full of alligators? YouTube channel The Omar Gosh Vlogs dives right in this scary video. Can you see the gator in the water, drifting toward them? You might think these folks landed in gator territory by accident, but it looks like this is actually something people pay to do.
Savannah looks hungry, don't you guys think?
The gators look like they could chomp them at any moment. In fact, the group is sandwiched in between them.
Look at these guys here. They so crazy to get followed by an alligator.
Break it in half, George. Break it in half.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think? Would you pay money to be gator bait? Me neither. This video, published by Adam in 2007, shows what the owner's dog has been barking at for several weeks. In the dark video, you can see the dog approach the outer door which leads into the kitchen. He seems like he's been alerted by something. He walks right up to the door, then something eerie happens. The door blinds open rapidly, then close just as rapidly. The dog waits there, and there's a tapping noise heard on the film as light appears from the outside. When the blinds open again, then they rapidly shut. The dog whines for a minute, and the blinds roll up a bit, and then a bit more, and then even more than that. The dog just sits guard at the door as the blinds roll up slowly. For the rest of the clip, the loyal and very concerned dog just sits there at the door, aware of the paranormal happenings, but not sure what to do about them. None of us are, Rex. This event is unexplainable in my opinion, but let me know if you have a different guess. Sometimes ghost hunters become the hunted, published by Yoon Sai-won in April of 2021. That's what happened to this Korean ghost hunter on one of his most recent investigations. Upon entering the haunted locale, he hears a strange noise.
안녕하세요.
It could be a dog barking in the distance, but who knows? Whatever it is, he has a bad feeling.
불길한 기운은?
And that feeling grows when the EMF meter reacts strongly, despite there being no electricity in the place. Using facial recognition software, faces also start to appear around the abandoned place. And they're getting closer by the second. Later, as the ghost hunter is using a spirit box, he hears a loud bump in the night. And then again as he continues his search. Is Yoon Sai-won being stalked? It may be best to call off this ghost hunt. Jeremy Pulverenti says he's caught a real ghost encounter on video. Security footage of the mysterious event only leaves him all the more stunned in response.
Look at, do you see there's nothing by the wheels or anything?
You can see it on an angle. And that hose is way over there. You see it on the angle? Yep. Dude, what the
He and his friend suggest the container is leaning over like somebody is holding it. At 35 seconds, there's a ghostly footprint moments before the object falls over on its own, and they react as expected. Common sense would suggest that the container tipped over because it was overfilled except for one thing. They've been filling this container with water for years, and everyone knows exactly how much it holds. This is strange to say the least, and with almost 75,000 views, almost no dislikes, and all his friends backing him up, it's definitely worth looking at. I think it could be one of the wheels on the bottom coming loose, or a small hole opening up on the side we can't see. But with that said, a haunted garage is not completely out of the question. The aggression with which some ghosts make their presence known can frighten even the bravest among us. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Mr. Miracle BR. The Redditor says this clip was tweeted by a police officer and reveals a strange, seemingly paranormal encounter during a police raid in Brazil. The footage shows what appears to be an abandoned building. The police approach to find a door banging repeatedly on its hinge. As they get closer, they see that it's doing so on its own. No trespassers are around. Nothing behind the door but an apparently angry plant. The man filming scans the door up and down, but nothing seems to explain the banging. The police hear something clatter to the ground somewhere far off and start running down the alley. Redditor Islin draws attention to something else creepy in the clip, writing, "How come no one is pointing out the girl in the doorway at 38 seconds? Not sure if that's a girl. In fact, it's unclear what it is, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's very unnerving." Those who don't see it remain skeptical about the seeming paranormal activity. Redditor Bin Medi writes, "Ghosts do this, but they don't do it constantly." Well, there you have it. When this small plane's propeller stopped moving, it was forced to emergency land. "We're now experiencing engine failure," says the man videotaping the event. "If there's a place to land, we shall be okay." He speaks rather calmly considering their propeller froze mid-air. The sky around the hilly region appears murky, and there's clearly some strong wind tearing at the aircraft. "Find a flat ground so that rescue vehicles can come in," the man says. He places all responsibility on the pilot, telling him, "It all relies on your experience now." The pair find a piece of land in the water to force landing upon, and again he emphasizes how they're all relying on the captain. The plane quickly descends and hits the ground with a thud. They strike a rock, but the pair lives. When they rather calmly land, the man videoing the incident thanks the captain for saving his life. The captain says he told someone this plane wasn't good to go. This driveway ghost likes to mess around. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in March of 2021. CCTV footage caught something scary and mysterious in this driveway. The video shows a rock flung or kicked onto the driveway from something off camera. A moment later, a ball bounces into view from a space to the side of the drive. It rolls around for a moment before coming to a standstill. Then a chair scrapes forward and is leaning off of the step back and forth before being flung forward onto the drive. Sounds are heard out of sight, followed by a small footstool thrown into view from the same storage space. A strange shadow is seen on the back wall, floating in the air. It moves into frame and hovers before retreating back again. Then a fuller shadow figure makes its way into the picture. Rather, it looks like a strange creature crouched down is casting a large shadow against the wall. The floating figure appears again higher up on the wall. Were these mysterious beings causing the poltergeist activity? I guess we'll never know for sure. This ghost sighting will send chills down your spine. Published to YouTube by TechWorld TV in August of 2014, this video shows a haunted Hindu cremation site. A man arrives at this site in India to investigate a local story. According to the man, he was walking down this dirt road when he saw an entity at this place. The investigator explains that passed away individuals are taken there for their last rites. Nobody lives here, apart from packs of stray dogs. As the man navigates around the puddles on the wet road to approach the ceremonial sites, dogs start barking like crazy at a distance.
In this place.
Then the man shouts that he just saw an entity floating from the building further back. Upon closer inspection of the video, you can see the white vapor the man is talking about. It appears in the darkness under the veranda before floating up and then vanishing. While some point out the vapor moves simultaneously with the camera. One Redditor, Ricky Jaikaran, notes, "I would have said it was a smudge on the camera if the dogs hadn't started to bark at the same time. What do you think? Coincidence or a spirit ascending?" Catholics honor the departed on November 2nd with All Souls Day, praying for the souls of their departed family and friends, often with visits to the graveyard. But what happens when the soul hasn't crossed over? Published by Own Vlogs, these paranormal investigators visited a haunted graveyard in order to answer that question. As the crew wanders around the cemetery's open graves, they suddenly see this vague pale figure in the distance. After glancing over several times at the figure, the men get too scared by its stillness and start running off.
कुछ चीज है तो वो हावी होने की कोशिश कर रही है और ये क्या
खड़े हो जाओ निकलो यहाँ से स्पीड से थोड़ा सा
ये क्या
Gathering some courage, they turn and look back. The figure is still there. They run off again and straight out of the cemetery. Was this a soul that hadn't yet crossed over? Or just a graveyard statue? In any event, this is one scary video that went horribly wrong.
रास्ते में खड़ी है जो भी है रास्ते में है अरे भाई इधर से निकल भाई
Now you see it, now you don't. Published in December of 2017. This video begins with a man speaking Arabic. No translation or subtitles are included, so we can't tell you what he's talking about as he stands outside what appears to be a normal door with an elaborate gold door frame. Over a minute into the video, he opens the door to what appears to be a normal dining room. Speaking the whole while, he enters the room and shuts the door, giving a tour of the room, which is empty. He tries opening another door on one side of the room, but it's locked tight, so he enters further in what appears to be a living room. There are toys inside, a car with a doll in it, but nothing appears to be out of the ordinary. That is, until he turns to film the other side of the room and pans back to the car. No more doll. He doesn't seem to panic, and it's hard to tell if he even noticed. He continues to wander around the room. Well, nothing more disturbing appears to happen in the duration of the video. The man must have experienced something frightening towards the end. As fear is heard in his voice, his camera drops and he rushes out of there. What was happening in this room? I don't know if I want to know. This unlucky fellow must have the strictest parents ever, because he's mowing his lawn in some pretty severe weather. A storm is rolling into St. Louis, Missouri, and things are about to get bad for him quickly.
Ellie, stay back. Man!
His neighbor tells him to get inside, but he refuses. Apparently, he either doesn't know or doesn't care that pushing a big piece of metal under a bunch of trees is a recipe to attract lightning. Even after almost getting stuck, the defiant neighbor continues to mow his yard as the weather gets worse. That's when the person recording decides they are standing outside too and takes their own advice. This neighbor may have beaten out the elements this time, but I don't know how many storms they can weather before they learn their lesson the hard way. Definitely don't do what they do unless you want to wind up struck by lightning. You might want to rethink booking that Airbnb after seeing this scary video posted to the r/ghosts subreddit By Lemonisa, the Redditor writes that spooky sounds during the first night in this rental home in Norway kept waking her and her partner. This prompted her to start recording. This is what she captured. In an upper slanted window facing the living room, a mysterious white anomaly appears. After a moment, the anomaly slowly fades away before completely vanishing. It's not clear if the figure is beyond the window looking in, or something inside the house is being reflected. Some in the comments think it looks extraterrestrial. Others say it looks like a face or hand pressed against the glass. The Redditor mentions in the comments that this house was haunted. She says that they'd be sitting in the living room and would hear random things fall from the counter and strange noises from the basement. She notes that this first night in the home was especially creepy. Would you have the courage to remain a second night in the house if you saw this in the window? I sure wouldn't. According to YouTubers, most who've watched this video arrived there by typing in a random emoji into the search bar. That may be because the video shows a woman replacing her prosthetic eye. At the start of the video, the woman's eyes look nearly identical. The coloring is the exact same. In fact, I'd be surprised if you knew without reading the title that one of these eyes is fake, and I'd highly doubt that you could guess the real from the prosthetic. That's how good prosthetic eyes are in this day and age. But what happens next will make you question everything. The smiling woman holds open the bottom lid of her left eye, and after a little bit of finicking, the eye slides right out. All that remains is the eye socket. The woman then shows you her prosthetic, which is really just the front half of an eyeball. It is concave and empty behind. She replaces it in her eye by inserting it up behind her upper lid and then pulling her lower lid out to wrap around the bottom of the prosthetic. The eye is now back in place. She demonstrates its movement, and while it doesn't show as wide a range of circulation as a regular eye, it's certainly impressive what modern technology has done to improve visual prosthetics. A Reddit user named Addison W has posted one of the creepiest things ever caught on doorbell cam to the Chills Narrator subreddit. A large, scary man bikes up to their front door and has this to say.
I'm sorry. Looked in one day and saw you. And, oh God, I can't stop.
The creepy man has his face covered and a light on his head that could be used to better see into people's windows. I don't know which is creepier, the fact that he has apparently been looking into the windows of random people's homes, or the fact that he calmly confesses it to them later into their doorbell cameras. At any rate, I really hope this person is just a random stranger with a dark sense of humor and not somebody who has developed an obsession. Unfortunately, I think the chances are very high that this is somebody who is extremely messed up and cannot help themselves. Hopefully the police find him before any of his compulsions grow even worse.
I'm sorry. Looked in one day and saw you. And, oh God, I can't stop.
Mocha Vids and his friends are making a random YouTube video late at night when a lone stranger starts walking close behind.
Dude, there's like a creeper following us.
After a while, they turn around only to find the man briskly gaining on them. Mocha Vids quickly considers his options and ultimately decides not to confront the person.
You guys want to run?
Should we run?
Oh, just missed the house down, dude.
The audio gets real choppy during this next part, but I think they are basically saying that the man is darting between houses and acting really weird.
Oh, just missed the house down, dude. He went on the side. Inside of my God.
Seconds later, he apparently charges at them.
Oh shit.
It's hard to say if the danger presented in this video is real or dramatized. You never actually see the person run at them. But at the same time, that also kind of makes the video more realistic because they are too busy getting away to catch anything. Either way, they manage to run back home and the incident is soon forgotten. Let me know if you think they really were being chased or not based on what you've seen here. Two friends sneak into a large abandoned house in Sellersburg, Indiana and take a look around. They don't go into much detail about the local legends aside from mentioning this place has a long haunted history that dates back 3 decades, so they should be ready for anything. Most of the rooms are littered with nothing but rotting garbage, but a couple spaces look to be somewhat organized and even have furniture, so they start calling out to anyone who might be inside.
Hello? Is anybody here?
It isn't long before someone hears their calls and silently responds.
Dude, this is creepy. Oh my god, get the f out! Get the f out! Oh my god! Oh my god!
A tall figure wearing a Michael Myers mask passes by the doorway without a sound. Obviously, Michael Myers is a Hollywood legend and not a real person, but that doesn't mean there isn't someone who idolizes him a little too much. This could be a fake video, or maybe this is an imitator who dresses like this to keep intruders out of their home, in which case that blade might be real. Renato Garcia claims to have had a paranormal encounter while exploring the house of a witch in Brazil. He finds all these empty bottles carefully arranged in a circle in the middle of the room, possibly for a spell, and then the far door opens all by itself. That's when some really bizarre things are caught on camera, things that are weird but possibly not real.
Victim! Side.
So the door slams shut by itself, which is creepy, but then he says that the bottles fall over by themselves. However, when you play this part in slow motion, you can clearly see his foot kicking them at 1 minute and 21 seconds. It's hard to see because it's dark, but when you look in slow motion, you can definitely see his shoe. With over 4 million views and nearly 80,000 likes at the time of this video, I just had to give my honest analysis and say I have my doubts about this one. If he really is faking this part, then I have trouble believing the rest of this abandoned house exploration is real. A YouTuber named Dan Loganiffy shot this Disneyland footage almost 10 years ago, and it still remains a paranormal point of contention even today. Dan's filming the end of a typical Disney fireworks show when he sees something strange and zooms in. A gray specter appears to be admiring the show from atop his perch on the Walt Disney Castle. It watches the final barrage of fireworks for a bit longer and then silently disappears from sight. Some people think that this was just a fireworks technician wearing dark clothing, while others are convinced that this is a phantom and possibly even the ghost of Walt Disney himself. I'm not sure what it was, but I do agree that the timing is very eerie. I mean, the ghost or whatever it was does happen to show up right before the final high note and then disappears shortly afterwards, so that's definitely odd. Let me know what you think it was, and if you think the timing was just a coincidence. A YouTuber named Maximus and his friends are playing with a Ouija board in the shed. At first, they can't stop goofing around for long enough to take it seriously, but as time goes on, they start to concentrate more on the board and less on making jokes.
Are you there?
Maybe lift your arms up.
Why?
Cause it.
What?
Yo, what?
No, that was you. Is that not you? No.
They laugh wildly to cover up the mounting tension as they realize a ghost might actually be near. Unlike most of the videos, nothing happens for a long time, and the pointer stays completely still. They go back to making sarcastic jokes until another event gives them pause.
Are you standing next to Frank Tilton?
Are you Frank Tilton?
When was he born?
Stop playing. Stop.
Oh my god, no way! That actually fell!
They are still acting like they don't care very much, but they decide to leave the shed just in case something is watching them. There's something about this video and their excitedly skeptical reactions that seems very genuine to me. This Irish family was testing out their new baby monitor when they monitored something incredibly alarming, published by the Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in October of 2018. The footage shows Alan Smith watching the monitor in another room as his wife plays with the baby in its crib. When the man pans up to see his wife's face, however, he captures something unexpected. Over her shoulder in the connecting bathroom, a creepy face peers around the corner before vanishing completely. The man hurries upstairs, shouting at his wife that he saw something behind her.
Oh, you can. Oh, one sec. Let me check if I can get your face. Say hello, Lisa. What the Lisa! Who's behind you? Is there actually anyone behind you? Seriously?
There is, of course, no one in the bathroom. So to whom does this creepy face belong? Is this a cryptoid, a glitch, or just another scary video going viral on social media? Upbeat Jason puts on a helmet cam and rides around the neighborhood with his friend on BMX bikes. The video is mostly a nice view of the countryside until he comes across some neighbors with aggressive dogs and no leash. Jason tries to get past them instead of taking another way around, and suddenly finds himself flanked on both sides.
Ah! There, go fast!
A dog lunges straight at Jason, jaws snapping. I don't think they make any contact, but I can tell by the sound of their bark that they are ready to attack. Clearly, they would have protected their territory if Jason stuck around, which he does not. But just when he thinks he is a safe distance away, he hears barking behind him and the chase is on again. Eventually, an adult picks them up and quickly puts their bike in the back of their truck before anything else happens. I really hope the two friends never bike past that house again. So years ago, I analyzed a creepy video of a mysterious handprint found in this family's haunted home in a hard-to-reach area really high up in the corner above the stairs. Years later, their house still appears to be haunted as ever.
This wall has since been painted, and the exact same print is still there.
Okay, so the wall does in fact look to be painted a different color. The original video has a yellow wall and now it's gray. It's the same distance from the ceiling and has the same impossibly long fingers extending from an oblong palm, more like the paw print of a creature than that of a human. So I guess the work of a demon is not out of the question. With that said, I guess they could have stenciled the handprint and recreated it over the new paint job. But that seems like a lot of work and there should be some mistakes. The handprints in the two videos looks nearly identical to me, and therefore I think this follow-up video is probably paranormal. And judging from their evidence, it looks like this paranormal entity, ghost, demon, whatever you want to call it, is not going to stop haunting their home anytime soon. A scary 3 a.m. video's got a YouTuber named Logical Leprechaun scratching his head in disbelief along with both of his parents too.
The thing runs for like another minute and he never comes back. He never does anything else. Whoever this never rings again.
Is he wearing a dress or something?
Again.
The mysterious figure sets off the Ring doorbell camera alert one time and never again despite passing back and forth numerous times. It's the 4th of July, so somebody could have been walking around outside, but there's no reason for them to be this out of focus, and definitely no reason to appear out of nowhere.
It's dark there, and then boom, out of nowhere.
Logical Leprechaun says that nothing has appeared so blurry before or after this mysterious figure was caught on camera. It's no different than other doorbell cameras and works fine, other than this mysterious night. I think it could be paranormal unless there is some technical explanation that someone could help me better understand. This video was streamed live from Telemark, Norway. A YouTuber named Odins2 sees a gigantic disturbance in the water, so he pulls over and starts recording. This is what he sees. It starts out as a long and skinny, shimmering mass, but after a while it really starts to take form, especially in the center, possibly as the monster rises very close to the surface. Since there are no boats nearby and the water is mostly calm, many people suspect that this is a famous legendary sea serpent named Seljord, which is Norwegian for Selma. It's kind of like Norway's version of the Loch Ness Monster. I guess it could just be fishing nets or a long string of garbage instead, but it's hard to tell for certain. Maybe someone out there with fishing experience can let me know if it looks like any of those things. This security camera caught some very unsettling footage, published by Blah Blah in March of 2020. A camera monitoring a baby captured what looks like a near taking by a demon. The baby is being pulled backward by something invisible, prompting some in the comments to believe that demons are afoot. At the start of the video, the infant is tossing and turning on a mattress on the floor. The clip cuts, and she is later seen on the floor, having somehow made it off of the mattress. It's unclear if the baby was moved there by force or of her own volition. As she cries, it appears as though one of her legs is being pulled, and she inches slowly backward. She doesn't appear to be in control of her movement. As she is pulled, she continues to cry, when at last she is yanked out of view. What is reeling this poor child in? Is it a demon fishing for fresh souls or some other bad entity? A YouTuber named Ice-T and his friend go out to an old local graveyard that's just off a long country road. After a couple minutes of exploring, he zooms in on what could be a creature or even someone on their hands and knees.
What? That is?
I mean, that could be almost anything. But did you notice the strange flash of light coming from deeper in the woods seconds before? When shown up close, it definitely looks like a pair of eyes watching them. The air suddenly grows very still and cold, so they decide to get out of there quick, but as they walk down the road, a bright red tint overwhelms the camera for no reason. Watch this part and tell me if you think it's a glitch from the street lamps or a warning from the other side.
I have some at my dad's house.
I have a really good one at home, but...
Dad, look, my camera screen's like red. I don't know if that's like... What
that's a light.
No, hold up. I think I'm tripping, dude. Holy it's red again. Look.
They think they hear a sound nearby and take off. Are they running from a spirit or their imagination? It's almost midnight when this YouTuber makes the mistake of going for a late night motorcycle ride, completely unaware of the paranormal activity about to be caught on camera. He sees a figure in white and slows down, suddenly feeling unsafe and vulnerable with a ghost in his sights.
दाना पानी बीच है रात के लेट हुए हैं डर लग रहा है दोस्तों
As he speeds away, he says the mysterious figure appears and disappears in the side view mirror. I kind of see what he's saying, but the mirror is so dirty that I'm not sure if this proves much of anything. Still, what this person is doing by themselves at midnight is anyone's guess. They seem to be slowly looking for something, which is beyond creepy when you think about it. The video of this home was originally published in December of 2013. The uploader explains that he was woken by someone pounding at his door and ringing the doorbell around 1:35 in the morning, setting off his barking dog alarm. He assumes the two guys outside were pleading for help with the intention of entering their home. Luckily, the homeowner's steel front door and his common sense prevented the would-be intruders from taking further action. They eventually left. The whole scenario is terrifying, but a closer look at the security footage that seems to have been captured in the same home 2 years later in February of 2015 turns up something even creepier. A shadow person seems to manifest on the living room wall and is seen walking from the hallway towards the front door. Is it just some sort of visual remnant of the homeowner on the clip, or did a spirit invade his home when he wasn't looking? Considering both of these insanely creepy incidents, I'd have to agree with Redditor, just a touch too much, who writes simply, time to move. Here's even more reason to not build your house too close to the ocean. Posted to Twitter by @CapeHatteras_NPS, an unoccupied house was captured on video collapsing into the sea off Rodenthade, North Carolina in early May of this year. The footage shows the two-story house on stilts, standing precariously near the aggressive waves as the wind whips through, then its front stilts give way, collapsing the house head first into the sea. It lands flat and is pulled out to sea for a moment by the tide, but the waves quickly push it back in. After a while, it comes to a standstill on the shore, looking shoddy and dilapidated. Reports say that this is the second unoccupied house to collapse on this day at Cape Hatteras. This is not a good day for those homeowners. TikToker Smug Puppy has experienced paranormal activity in her home since 1997. The activity comes in waves, lying dormant for years before spiking. This is one of those spikes. At first, she and her dad are just enjoying their morning.
Are you enjoying my donkeys, Dad?
But then this happens a moment later.
Oh my God. Jesus.
It hit me. It hit me right around the face.
I can't believe I've just caught that on camera.
The ghost confronts him, knocking the snack right out of his hand. Here it is again. This is the first time the ghost has ever done this to anybody. Some in the comments think the slap sounded off. Others think the ghost doesn't want people eating junk food. I think this looks legit, and if the ghost is starting to physically harm the home's residents, then this ghost needs to be removed from this home. A YouTuber named Underwater Ireland explores a cemetery on a dreary day. Crows cackle loudly overhead like a warning not to go any further as she treads sacred ground.
They look like Celtic type of crosses.
Underwater Island looks down and notices that all of the markers have a wide gap. I have never seen any cemetery with this problem before, have you? If I didn't know better, it almost looks like the buried have been trying to claw their way out. She sets up some cameras and records overnight, and this is what she finds the next day.
Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. There! Did you see that flash?
And this is the same shot from a different angle. Also, notice how the gate opens here. Okay, so this frowning man wearing a helmet is what the image looks like when the video is stopped. Is this special effects, or did a spirit really come face to face with the camera moments after opening the entrance? This one's a head scratcher. TikToker elkakoy.tv shares this mysterious video that's a total nightmare. Watch around the side of the door.
Is that? What the was that?
At first, it looks to me like a ghost peeking out sideways at the guy, but TikTokers are floating other theories as to what the heck that was.
Bro, what was that?
Well, I think Cap like Caleb could be right that it was this mirror. It's the reflection in the mirror that's throwing people off. That could be anything, but to me it looks like someone covering their abnormally large face with their hands. What do you think it is? While exploring an abandoned paper mill, the crew from YouTube channel Blow6 captured two mysterious events simultaneously, an EVP and an apparition. To me, the apparition is clear as day. You see it emerge from the right to the center of the screen, as if it's drifting down the tunnel, but the EVP is not as clear. It sounds like a bird cawing. That's not the only mysterious thing about this clip. I also noticed a strange flicker in the light at the beginning of the video. Watch the backlight closely. Was that a camera glitch? Or is some entity fiddling with the light switch? I think this phantom is up to something. This hunter captured the prey of his life while on an expedition. Published by Bigfoot's Testimony in January of 2022, the mysterious encounter occurred in a wooded area in Ohio. The footage shows a strange, grassy-looking creature creeping between the trees on a snowy fall day. The man says the creature's hair is gray or black.
His hair's gray and black. Is that gray? Is that snow?
Zooming in, the figure is barely discernible from its surroundings, like he's camouflaged. Most in the comments confirm that they've seen similar creatures in the forest. Tanner Urza writes, "These beings are very spiritual and in tune with nature." Others note that at some points it looks like a barely visible, partially invisible shadow. Is this the Grassman of Ohio, or do we have another legendary creature on our hands? Either way, I think I'll be staying clear of that forest. When you happen upon a cave carved into a mountainside, you might want to think twice before entering. Published to YouTube by the Highway 9 in September of 2017, this video serves as a warning to never ever go caving alone. The footage takes you through a deep and dark rock-hewn cave. Along the way, bats are seen hanging from the ceiling, and a long black centipede-like insect is climbing the walls. But the creepiest part is yet to come. As the YouTuber rounds a corner, he senses something deeper in the tunnel. He presses on, peering into the darkness, and seems to see a figure beyond. Highway writes, "I'm not sure what I saw, but it scared the wits out of me." Needless to say, he fled the scene as anyone would. YouTuber LeeStat444 writes in the comments, "This is what happens when you enter a cave full of bats, dusts, and insects. You find Batman." Whether this unfortunate explorer found that or something much more nefarious is anybody's guess, but I'm gonna err on the side of the second choice. The origins of this video are mysterious, and the footage even more so. Published to YouTuber Chibonk182, the short clip is entitled Kuyang Dayak. The video shows what appears to be a beast human behind a cage. The creature seems to have an animalistic body, although no animal on Earth has ever looked like this. While its ghost white face is that of a human male's, with long shaggy brown hair. The face looks perturbed by chit-chatting of the onlookers, to say the least, but it just continues to lie there on the blue flowered sheet, its limbs moving slightly. Also known as the Krasu in Cambodian mythology, and Krasu in Laos, the Kuyang spirit is ubiquitous across the folklore of Southeast Asia. The figure appears with the head of a woman, with its internal organs trailing below her. Is that what it is meant to be? If not, then what in the world is it? A thing of myth and legend or not? This clip does one thing right, it makes you shudder in horror. Nothing like an old village to cruise for some ghosts. Published in September of 2015, this footage purportedly shows a ghost near some old village homes. It's unclear where this video was shot, so it could be any old village anywhere in the world. Let's explore it. The clip takes in the surrounding area of these homes. Nothing appears out of place, although the home seemed to be abandoned. The camera follows some birds on a roof before panning down to capture some ants on the ground. The shot pulls up from the grass and mud and pans around the area. That's when you see it. Too quick to make out any details, an apparition in all black appears on screen for a brief moment, standing off in the distance on some pavement. The figure is still as the shot moves around. What is this? Do you think it's a ghost too? That's at least what the uploader claims. Many have debated whether it is or not, and with no other footage, it will most likely remain a mystery for the foreseeable future. A YouTube duo called Alone and Afraid are ghost hunting in a haunted cemetery in Port Arthur, Texas. While scanning the perimeter, they barely managed to catch a moving shadow that has no reason to stand out, let alone step aside. Look again. At 26 minutes and 58 seconds, a shadow is standing in front of a marker and then it moves away. The camera goes out of focus in the exact same area where they last saw the shadow's movement. Now standing in the middle of the cemetery with only a flashlight on them, the two begin hearing scary noises coming from the darkness.
She was asking for help. I'm hearing stuff all around us. This place is just super eerie.
I would classify this as extremely haunted. So, as promised, we're going to come back.
They hear approaching footsteps in the still night.
We're going to come back.
But when they explore the area with their flashlight, a blurred camera is all they can see, like an invisible presence is standing near. Jake Duffner is live streaming some Fortnite and everything is going well until 3 a.m. rolls around. Strangely enough, all of the weirdness begins as soon as he mentions how late it is.
It's the middle of the night for me. Why is this pregame lobby hella long? It was good.
Exactly 1 minute later, the door closes. Does it close by itself here, or was someone grabbing it from the bottom? This time he says he wishes someone would come in and test him. He obviously means in the game, but I guess the ghost doesn't understand. The timing is perfect. As soon as he says I wish someone would come, you can hear the doorknob turn.
I wish someone would come test me right now.
Next, his chair starts to move. I can't see the floor, but I can pretty much see the whole chair, and I think the camera is low enough to show someone crawling across the ground. No one does, so either they are using something to pull it from the doorway, or it's a ghost. Well, light can certainly play tricks on us, and on a camera, things can get creepy. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit. Garno7 explains that he and some friends were hanging around their campfire near a lake, and one of them captured this on his phone. The clip shows a figure appearing to run from their group of people into the roaring flames. Watch as the camera pans from left to right. Can you see it? While many in the comments say the figure is nothing but a lens flare. A couple Redditors counter that argument. Redditor Patrick RS Ghost writes, "At first I thought it was some flare or something due to the transition from dark to light very quickly, but when I looked closer I could see something start to move within the crowd at around the 2-second mark, almost to the left of the little girl in the pink sweater, right as the camera starts to pan, and upon looking again, I can totally see what this Redditor is talking about. So now I think there's a good chance this could be paranormal, because when you take the time, it seems to sync up." Exorcist Pierre Dulong is a trusted member of French society. In this video clip, a 19-year-old hairdresser is seen being exorcised of a demon. This took place in Gers, began with a pendulum stroke, through which Dulong detected the woman's possession. She screamed, growled, grunted, spit, convulsed, and foamed at the mouth. She also spoke in Spanish, not her mother tongue. Her eyes rolled back in her head as she shook and convulsed. Although the demon fought it the whole way, in the end the good won. The woman finished with a calm smile and feeling at ease, but sometimes even Dulong can't rid a person of this. He says honesty is the foundation of his reputation, admitting, "When I cannot do anything, I announce it right away." Hopefully, for the sake of the possessed, this is rarely the case. Humans aren't the only beings with the apparent ability to teleport. Published by The Buzz in January of 2015, this mysterious video appears to show a canine teleportation. The video, filmed during a street race on an empty motorway in Chile, shows a dog suddenly materializing out of nowhere. In the clip, 2 cars speed down the track. As the camera swings after them, following the race, a dog suddenly appears in their wake, crossing the road. In slow motion, the dog appears out of thin air in the middle of the road, somehow avoiding the 2 cars, neither of which budge at all in their straight shot down the track. Did this dog teleport here, as many in the comments seem to believe? Whether or not he did, I think Pogsquatch sums up our sentiment. Scotty needs to be more careful when he beams you down. That was too close for comfort. Is one of America's greatest presidents still roaming the earth? YouTuber Soul Searching thinks so. She visited President Lincoln's tomb at the Oak Ridge Cemetery in Springfield, Illinois. The place is said to be haunted. Let's see if it is. Right away, Shannon gets a response to her inquiries.
Walk up to me. Oh, I heard a noise. Was that you, Mr. Lincoln? I heard a noise.
When she asks the spirit to knock,
can you knock on this? There we go.
It answers a moment later. Unless there's construction going on inside the tomb, I don't know what would explain the knocking in response. My thoughts are that Lincoln's spirit remains here. This rare Russian creature is being called everything from a mole to a troll. The phone quality is too poor to make out much more than a tiny humanoid hand and a small face. Whatever this is, it doesn't behave much like a mole, which I doubt would stay above ground with 2 humans so close. Anyway, try to translate this conversation if you can, and let me know if they ever say what kind of creature this is.
Quantos saíram? Só Aí pra trás tem mais quantos? Cela 4 e a ala.
Bora, bota a cara pra cima aí.
At the 15-second mark, you can see its hand more clearly, and it does look like it could have a well-developed thumb, which would exclude it from belonging to most species. With that said, I think it could perhaps be a baby possum, which do have opposable thumbs and sometimes like to burrow underground. I could be wrong though, and even after almost 100,000 views, nobody seems to have come up with a concrete answer. Is this an authentic electronic voice phenomenon caught on camera? Published by Massage ASMR in April of 2013. This video was filmed at a temple in Egypt in October of 2012. The YouTuber's friends shared this footage with Massage ASMR. The short clip appears to have captured a strange childlike sigh while on a temple tour.
All the guys over there, I know. Sorry.
According to the uploader, there were no children on the tour, which consisted of mostly Australians and South Africans. The voice sounds very out of place, which is why they thought it might be an EVP, perhaps even speaking ancient Egyptian. Is Cleopatra trying to speak to us? What is her message to the modern world? Or is something else haunting this temple? The answer remains unclear for now. This dog knows what's up. Published by Ghost Hunting Unique 0.4 in April of 2022. This dog is seen staring down the road. He then runs away without explanation. That's when this figure appears suddenly in the middle of the road. The figure later vanishes. But then this weirdo pops up, scaring a passerby. It's unclear what he wants, but he too vanishes after a moment. Later, another figure disappears as he's crossing the street. Is this just a road of no return? The Bermuda Triangle of pavement? Or is something else going on here? Have you heard of the Fresno Nightcrawler? The cryptoid in question was first caught on video surveillance in Fresno, California. It appears extraterrestrial, looking akin to a long pair of white pants with a tiny head. The figure in this video, published in April of 2020, certainly fits that description. The home surveillance footage from Billings, Montana purportedly captures this bizarre creature. Claudia writes, "The figure appears in the top right corner at the 20-second mark along with sounds that seem to match a pig or some kind of mammal." Right before the timestamp in question, a car appears to drive near the property off camera, casting light into the yard. That's when you see the figure at the top right corner, which looks like it has 2 legs. Seeming to be scared into stillness, it soon scurries out of sight. If not the Fresno Nightcrawler, what do you think this is? It looks like no mountain lion I've ever seen. Ever wondered what goes on in a pharmacy late at night? Well, apparently it's wilder than you think. Egyptoon published this creepy video in January of 2015. It's footage that will make you swear off pharmacies for a good long while. The green hue and flashing monitor on the desk are spooky enough to set the scene. Then the action begins. A white chair in the office starts to move all of its own accord, jerking to the left, then being lifted right up into the air before landing back down on the floor. It pulls slowly to the right, then yanks to the left again. A little later, something gaseous spurts out below, leaving black marks in the footage. Some in the comments of the video say this footage has been edited, or suggest the chair is being jerked around with strings. But maybe, just maybe, someone wasn't given the right prescription, and his ghost is seeking revenge. I, for one, hope he gets it. Have you ever felt like you were being watched? Published to YouTube by Mo Vlogs in July of 2018. This CCTV footage will spook even the bravest among us. While most of this video is super upbeat, about 10 minutes in is where the terror enters. It's then that Mo claims that he was being watched the day prior while taping his vlog, and he has the CCTV footage to prove it. He says there was a spooky person in a mask following him all day. Although Mo admits he thinks it was a prank, he pulls up the CCTV footage of this spooky lurker to show viewers what he had to contend with. The lurker appears to be wearing a black hooded robe and a white mask, walking at a gilded gate. He is seen crossing a parking lot, though it's not clear from whence he came from or where he is going. Mo says the footage was filmed that morning, not the day prior, so he surmises that the only person the lurker could be is his security guard or his mom. Prank or not, this haunting image is sure to give you nightmares. A group of musician friends are jamming out in the woods in Oregon when a tiny creature suddenly attacks one of them in broad daylight.
It's a bat!
Holy
The bat hits Derek on his shoulder with a dull thud and all of the instruments stop. Everyone watches in disbelief as the tiny creature climbs up his body, and Derek can even feel its cold snout as it plants its tiny sharp teeth into his neck, just inches away from the jugular vein.
And then it just bit me.
It latched onto his shoulder, then crawled up his neck.
He throws the bat off and watches it fly into a tree, where it continues silently watching them from afar. They are freaked out at this point, but they think that it was just a freak occurrence and decide to play some more music. After the bat makes 2 more swipes at the man, however, his friend has had enough and shoots it with a BB gun. The group takes the bat corpse back to the local health department and has it tested. Sure enough, Derek had been bitten by a rabid bat. He had to get rabies shots for days afterwards. This haunted mansion isn't a Disney theme park ride. It's the real deal. On the Chills Narrator subreddit, Be More Talk submitted this freaky video in July of 2019, writing, "This video was made while it was 115 degrees out, and I say this because while we were filming, we noticed that someone was in the top floor of this 42-room mansion that was built in the 1800s. The Uplands mansion appears to be rather decrepit and is buried in nature. Lots of trees around and ivy growing up the mansion walls. Perfect scene for a ghost sighting." The video navigates the overgrown shrubbery surrounding the exterior of the mansion, some of which is covered with graffiti. At one point, as the YouTuber notes, there appears to be someone in the upper window. The YouTuber says someone keeps poking their head in and out of the window, but the visual is not clear. Whatever it is, it's enough to keep them out of that mansion, at least for now. This scary video captured an inhuman humanoid figure lurking over a human habitat, and it has been trending in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. Taken in someone's backyard, you first see a pool with trees beyond. It looks as though the cameraman is searching for something in the foliage. He then turns to the roof of the home. The roof at first seems to be empty, but when the cameraman turns completely to the right, this terrifying figure is spotted. Its fleshy skin is a raw sunburnt pink, its limbs are somewhat elongated, its shoulders are hunchbacked, and its pinhead is on a neck that's uncannily long. The creepiest part of it is that the figure is looking right at him. It stays still for a second, its eyes glowing as it watches the unsuspecting cameraman, before leaping with cat-like reflexes over the other side of the roof and out of sight. If this footage is real, then I have no idea what this thing possibly was.
Alright guys, I'm gonna show you one of the reasons we hate this house.
There's a YouTuber named Not Your Average Wife, who apparently does not live in your average home either. Her dog Catherine absolutely refuses to go down the steps leading to their basement. Follow the dog's eyes because I think it might be seeing something down there that none of us can.
Catherine, come on baby. Come on pretty. Come on baby.
Not even a nudge from behind can convince Catherine to go down the stairs.
Come on, Catherine.
And just to prove it's not a general fear of steps, they show her using different stairs without a problem. Maybe the dog almost fell down basement steps or something, and is now afraid of them. At least, that's the only non-paranormal explanation I can think of. And if it is paranormal, based on how Catherine is acting, it must be something sinister in that basement.
What is that? That's scary. Is that lightning? What the is this?
One night in 2018, this intense blue light was seen flickering in the sky all across New York City. The light was so intense that you could see its reflection on the water, as if it were the middle of the day. To the left and right, the sky was still dark, but in the middle was a blazing blue event of massive proportions. The official explanation is a power generator failure caused by an arc of electricity to shoot up into the sky. But here's the thing, there was no blast, no fire, no one hurt. Firefighters didn't even examine inside of the building it allegedly happened in, according to news reports. And when you look up stories about the incident, a large number of the headlines seem to go out of their way to specifically mention it was not aliens. Kind of makes you wonder. Terrence lives here, but I'm not going to reveal him, at least not yet. Take a look at his enclosure and give me your best guess as to what kind of pet Terrence is. There's a green structure for shelter and a piece of banana, so maybe Terrence is some kind of fruit-eating lizard, right? Well, there's no heat rock, so if a lizard was your guess, it was a good one, but no. Likewise, Terrence the Tarantula has a nice ring to it, but the bandana is not spider food, so that's a no-go as well. Okay, I'll tell you, Terrence is the giant, hissing cockroach of your nightmares. This creepy pet spans across all 4 fingers, and its backside still hangs over the end. Someone please tell me this roach is as big as it gets, because I can't imagine a larger one, or why someone would actually own this as a pet. Could you ever see yourself getting attached to Terrence? Because Terrence will gladly attach itself to you. This is the same house that made number 2 on my list about mysterious things caught on tape in Texas. In that video, I verified that somebody really did have their life taken while exploring the premises. Now, someone may have actual footage of their ghost.
Whoa!
You can see what appears to be a small hand beacon them from the window. I guess they could have had a third person climb to the 2nd floor to make this video as a prank. Can someone who has been brave enough to go inside of the house tell me if it's possible to get up to the second floor? If you can't get access to the second floor, then this video is probably real. Either way, many people claim to have seen the ghosts of small children in doorways and windows of the abandoned property. So even if this video is fake, then the house is almost definitely still haunted. A security guard is patrolling the San Francisco College campus when he catches a glimpse of an all-black figure moving fast. He quickly rounds the corner and finds absolutely nothing there. Notice how the silhouette is traveling in a straight line at a high rate of speed and has no time to run up the steps or to hide on the right before the security guard catches up with it. I don't see any jump cut editing either, so I think this could really be an actual ghost. This mother is relaxing on the patio when a loud boom startles her pretty badly. No, I said loud. The boom is so large it rocks the camera and briefly lights up the room despite it being in the middle of the day. I really hope Chris knew what he was doing, because that sounded like it was way too close to the house. This door sounds like a witch, and I'm not even exaggerating. Would you be able to live in a house that made this noise? People in the comments are saying it's possessed or cursed. I'm not going that far, but I'm just saying that if any part of my house even sounds remotely like this, I'm moving far away. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.